Good afternoon and welcome to Flat Earth Debate with me, Nathan Oakley. If you're new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you're new to Nathan Oakley, be sure to hit the link in the info box to go and check out Nathan Oakley 1980s YouTube channel and subscribe to that, which is actually my main channel for all things Flat Earth, including vlogs and Flat Earth interviews. If you would like to join the live panel, there is a link in the info box and I'll periodically put it into the chat so that people can actually join the show. Now, we do actually have two guests that are currently battling away, so to speak, debating Flat Earth and Globe Earth, so I'm going to raise the mic on them and give them a quick introduction. So I'll unmute myself from that feed so they can actually hear me. Right, guys, I'm going to transition across to you. I've actually got you back on the air now, so up until now you haven't been heard, but you can be heard now, just so you are aware.
All right.
So we've got Lewis Hackett and Arwin, so very pleased to have you both here.
All right.
Sorry for the technical difficulties earlier. I have no idea why we got shut off, but I'll try not to interrupt any further from this point. Hopefully we'll just run without any issues.
Well, Arwin and I have been talking a little bit here, and he doesn't really seem to want to argue the ball. He wants to argue a flat map versus another flat map, which is, I mean, if he wants to do that, that's fine. And if Nathan is okay with this platform being used for that, I will happily advocate for the traditional EU map.
I don't really understand what you mean. So are you saying, maybe you can explain, Arwin, what is it you're trying to do exactly? Because for me, this platform is just what you think the Earth is and put your case forward, and it's as simple as that, really. But you know, if you want to do something different, you're welcome to. As far as I'm concerned, as long as you're not shouting and swearing at each other, I don't care. And it's related to Flat Earth, so you know, have at it. But if you can explain exactly what you're trying to do, then that'd be wonderful. And welcome to Free Speech, who's just joined us as well. Mike's all yours, Arwin. Or maybe not. How you doing, Free Speech? You're currently on mute. So if you can say hello, maybe not. 4 people on this panel and lots of dead air. Unbelievable.
I know. Well, it looks like I'm unopposed. The Earth's a ball. Case closed.
Could you carry on? Tell us all about how the Earth's a ball, Lewis. That would be wonderful.
All right. Well, if you want to go to space, you have to accelerate upwards a fair bit till you get to a point where your rocket's not going to be destabilized when you start your gravity turn, and it'll happen naturally. So the way this happens is you nose the front of your aircraft just slightly in the direction you wish to go, and then you kind of let it naturally be pulled by the aerodynamic forces and gravity till it's in this sort of orientation. And at that point, if you've done everything properly, you should be out of the atmosphere when you reach a point where you might start tipping back down. And then the aerodynamic forces aren't affecting you, and you can control your rocket much more easily without the risk of it tumbling around in the air and breaking apart. So you accelerate to until the speed that the ground curves away from you because of your lateral motion is equal to that of the acceleration of gravity downwards. And then you're in orbit, and you stay in orbit. And when you're in space, you're not just sitting there floating. You're moving. You're in constant momentum. In school, they compare it to firing a cannonball fast enough that it just comes back around, and that's a pretty good analogy. That's going to space, and a lot of people seem to think, and movies get it wrong all the time, A lot of people seem to think that you just go up, and once you get past the atmosphere, oh, now I'm in space, and I can just go this way. Maybe I'll go off this way. Maybe I'll just go out. To do anything, you have to add or detract momentum from your current momentum.
Sure, we have an escape velocity, but this is all what you've been told. How do you know all of this?
This is extrapolation, and all I do to extrapolate this is I remove the atmosphere from the equation. I assume that the atmosphere ends. From that assumption, everything else is exactly as you would expect from normal ballistics.
Yeah, but how do you know, though? How do you know that's the case, as opposed to...
How do I know? It's
Yes.
the best and simplest explanation of the things I see that other humans are doing. The lie and the Earth being flat and all of that is a far more complicated explanation to get the exact same answers that I have without any of those complications. So I go with the simplest one until there's a reason to not go with it.
Do you really think it's the
And
simplest?
I mean, I apply the same principle to God.
Is it really
Which
the
is
most
why.
simple explanation, though? I mean, I'm not being... I don't want to be controversial, but no one else is talking, so I've got
Right,
no choice.
I know.
But
I don't blame you.
to me, not spinning and being flat is quite simple. It's as we see
Right.
it. It's as it appears. And you're saying the opposite, so that's why I've said, well, how do you see that as being the simplest explanation? Because to me, it's anything but simple. Whirling and flying through space seems pretty complicated.
Oh, well, if the Earth's flat, that completely changes how we look at gravity. That changes how we would look at circumnavigation and the movement of celestial objects in the sky. So sure, if you only look at the ground, the Earth, you could very simply say the Earth is flat, and you could get on with your life. And some people, even with looking at the sky, because the sky isn't gonna help them ever. But if you're a sailor or a navigator, the sky is very important, and you have to be able to know what it means when you look at the sky. You have to be able to calculate your longitude and latitude from looking at the sky. And we have tools and instruments that allow us to do that. We have for a long time. And that's another huge hint that the Earth's round. The triangulation that you can do.
If for the sake of argument we did have a completely flat and stationary plane, would that change anything in terms of how they use the stars to navigate?
Absolutely.
Can you explain how?
The sky in the southern hemisphere is entirely different from the sky in the northern hemisphere.
Sorry, I'll just say it again. In terms of how they navigate, so they're
Yeah.
looking up and taking star readings and plotting out their course based on the stars. Would it make any difference if it was flat or round to how they would do those calculations?
Absolutely. How would you have two focal points, two celestial points on a flat map? How would that exist? So if the Earth's flat, you have the sky above the flat map. Right? But if the
Are you
Earth's round,
suggesting
you
that-
have the sky surrounding the flat map.
So you're saying that
Or
star
the
charts are
ball.
just one single star chart for the entire face of the Earth that sailors would use, and because of that, you couldn't plot two different celestial points on one map. Is that what you're saying?
On a flat map, that's right. You can only plot two celestial points on a spherical map.
But I know of plenty of depictions that are flat of the celestial, of what's above in the heavens. There are flat depictions of that. You know that, don't you?
I'd like to see him.
Yep, no worries. I'll do a quick Google search.
But basically, if you plot the night sky over the flat map, you end up with people in the southern hemisphere looking in different directions from each other at the same time and seeing completely different skies. But on the sphere, they see the same sky and they're looking in the same direction. And it's because that's what the geometry of a ball is. So basically, for there to be celestial points on a flat map, you would have to have 4 areas or more of the sky that are no, you would have to have an infinite version of the sky that's repeating itself for everybody and copying itself for everybody. But in the northern hemisphere, it's not doing that.
You can't actually see what I'm sharing, unfortunately, but if you go to your watch page, I've just brought up a picture of a planisphere.
Okay. The planisphere.
So these are flat star charts.
All right. And how do you deduce? How was this chart deduced?
Don't know. No idea. Sorry. But I'm just contradicting what you said because you said it wasn't possible to plot it flat, and it absolutely is.
Well, it's possible to plot it flat if you have a sphere first that you've got it. And then you can do calculations to proportionally move everything so that they remain
Just
proportionally
to clarify,
to each other.
Just to clarify,
What?
you can plot it flat, contrary to what you said.
Only if you have a spherical version first.
Well, okay, that's a new qualifier that you didn't say, just to make it clear.
Well, I didn't think that you were going to pull up a star chart that was just a flat representation of the spherical sky.
Well, sure, but when you say something like you can't plot it flat, and then I literally go and find a Google search within 5 seconds of it plotted flat, and then you add a stipulation that you've got to have it plotted globally first, then, that sounds a bit ridiculous. No disrespect. No one else is challenging you.
Well, I misspoke then the first time. I misunderstood what you meant when I'm imagining when you say plot it flat. I'm imagining that you're showing a sky above a flat Earth. And if you put that sky above the flat Earth, it wouldn't work.
But it does work. That's what it's for.
It doesn't repeat the same celestial points around the outside of the flat map.
Well, that's why I put my qualifier in when I said it. That are you suggesting that they do it with a single sheet, which obviously these aren't. They're for different points across the Earth. So that's why I put my qualifier in nice and early.
I don't understand what you mean.
What I mean is, you can plot it flat. You said you couldn't. You can.
Okay, and right, that's fine. I misspoke the first time about we weren't on the same page about what we meant by plot it flat. I was expecting to see a night sky over a flat map, and I saw the regular night sky on a flat piece of paper.
Isn't that the same thing?
No.
Okay.
Come on, Arwen. Say something. Other than something.
We've got the knock here. He's not said a word yet. How you doing, the knock?
Nathan, you look pretty good in the morning. Or maybe it's
not.
afternoon.
It's 3 in the afternoon.
yeah, I forgot. You look good, though.
Thank you very much. Looking good for an avatar. Let's turn you up. You're a bit quiet.
By the way, who's Arwen?
Introduce yourself,
Does
Arwen.
anybody know who that is? Arwen?
Arwen's got a show. He's a videographer. He does a flat Earth broadcast reasonably frequently.
Oh, he's like a celebrity then, like a flat Earth celebrity.
Right? Yeah, let's say that. Let's go with that. Yes, cool. Flat Earth celebrity.
Cool. I can't wait till he gets on.
He's good. Very, very good. Everybody loves Arwen. I don't know where he's disappeared to. He's joined. He was all keen, chatting, and then I had an internet problem. We lost the feed. He was chatting with Lewis when I was trying to get it all working. As soon as I went live, nothing. It's just vanished. So what's your position then, the knock?
What do you mean?
I mean, what do you think the shape of the Earth is, to put it more concisely?
It's a globe. It's a globe.
Why?
But I wish it was flat. I want it to be flat, you know? But it ended up not being flat. So I'm really disappointed.
Oh, cool. So tell us your story. How did you go from hoping it was flat to realizing it's a globe?
When I first came across the YouTube videos, I was convinced it was flat for like 2 months. And then I ran into these guys like, say, Lewis and Earth Discussions, and then just listening and seeing their observations, you know, it convinced me back to a globe. Unfortunately.
Well, I'm happy that we managed to have that effect.
Only a little of Lewis, though, not very much.
Yeah, I'm not terribly, I'm sure.
Was there anything specific that converted you back?
The celestial south and north stars rotation, that convinced me for sure. But then there's some other radar type of studies that I've read. They're kind of complicated. I don't really understand them either, but it made sense too. It was just a lot of little things, you know. And then all of the slight curvature that you find in every single video of over the horizon shit. Like you never see a complete flat horizon, even if you can see the ship from, you know, if you view into it. It's still got a little bit missing, you know. So there was slight curvature in every film, and then there was like absolute curvature in a lot of them, you know. So it was like, it's a globe, obviously, you know.
There goes Arwen.
Anyways, that's it though. I'm gonna take a break.
No, thanks for your input. Much obliged.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't find it. I got into it just because I wanted to argue with people. I'm being honest, and I'm just so confident in the shape of the Earth that, you know, I just don't really care about a lot of things, like a lot of the social. I get beer balls basically on here. That's what it comes down to, I think, for a lot of people, actually. At least on the globe side. I mean, I've heard IPS say things like, oh, it's about to blow up. This is about to become huge. There are going to be millions of flat earthers. And I couldn't disagree more. There's already millions of people who understand that the Earth's a ball, and it doesn't make any sense as flat in the context of all the things we've managed to accomplish and go. Just doesn't. And it being flat raises a whole bunch of other questions. I mean, the least of which is, why hasn't anybody ever found the edge? And if they have, why have they never talked about it? Like, not even if every single person ever to have seen it was killed, and it was known that they would be killed if they talked about it, there would still be people talking about it. That wouldn't matter. Because curiosity killed the cat. to put it simply. So I mean, and that's why Math Powerland's initial video was actually good, because he understood the initial problem is that no one's claimed to have seen the edge. So, you know, I'm going to make a video saying that I want to find the edge, because that would be bam, that's it, proof, there it is. And then people started going, oh, there's no edge. And that's because this exists on a computer screen. This whole movement exists on the computer. The internet. We'll see if Jaren ever gets his laser level experiment going. I doubt it. IPS never got his rocket off the ground. Steam rocket. Sorry. Steam is probably one of the worst things you could use for that. I've met some cool people though here. Is chat
I'm
saying
wondering
anything?
if I leave that somebody will pop in.
I don't think so. Well, if we both leave, maybe. I don't know. I think Arwen.
I feel like, you know,
One-
people won't want to be on a panel with like bottom feeders, you know?
Yeah, that's how they see us.
Well,
Or-
nice to meet you, Nathan. See you later, Lou.
Yep.
You heading off the knock? Oh, obviously, yes. Good to have you. Thank you very much for joining. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. Sorry there's not lots of arguments going on.
Oh, wait, is Twit hitting on me there? I don't know. That's fine. The Hoary Sheet Show. This guy is cringeworthy, and he's not someone you can debate. As he put it, he wants to argue. I mean, nobody like that deserves a voice. I hope somebody comes to challenge this one. Well, you could do that, Hoary Sheet Show. Hey, Billy. I can't hear you if you...
Oh, I'm sorry. I was muted.
Okay,
I apologize.
cool.
What's going on, Nathan? I enjoyed the show last night. Some things, some people, you know, the personal attacks and stuff like that, I don't agree with. The format is excellent, by the way.
You talking to me?
Allowing anyone to come on and participate and give their opinion on topics. We don't always agree. Most of us can't agree on football or television shows or what food to buy or stuff like that to eat. And none of us can really prove anything. I know I get accused of being a big BSer. Yeah, I definitely can be that, but I enjoy the fellowship within the community and the people across the pond as well as here in the United States. And I try to be kind and nice to everybody. And yes, I've been passionate. I've been worked up. Nathan and I have had our differences. Doesn't mean I don't like them. I never go out of my way to slander them or anything like that. I always speak positive of the people that I associate with. And I try to keep it upbeat. You know, I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of enemies. I've said a lot of things. I made a lot of mistakes. I've only learned about this, like I said, I've stated previously 3 years ago, I didn't even know the difference between heliocentrism and geocentrism. Okay. I don't know a lot of things about the models, apparently. All I know is a lot of information has been distorted and hidden in our schooling systems and everything. It's either the truth or a lie. So I thank Nathan for inviting people to his platform to express their opinions and see if we can discover the truth together and get along with people. And without swearing, getting violent, threatening people, murdering people, insulting them, and making fun of them. Like a schoolyard. A lot of us, we need to grow up and be adults. The third show was excellent. Last night's show got out of hand. I hate to admit it. Brenda was attacked. Brenda has her, this whole thing about transgenderism and stuff like that, and this name calling back and forth within the community. The swinger, people showing private emails, people showing private Skype messages, whether this person gives this person money or do that, and just really the back and forth, the drama. I like a show that we can talk about the issues, where we can learn and talk about the experiments. The Michelson-Gale, the Sagnac, the Aries failure. Let's talk about whether Einstein's theory of relativity or special relativity holds water. It was mentioned last night, you need relativity for time travel, for light to travel. These stars that are apparently trillions of miles away. We have the theory of gravity. By the way, these are all theories. Everyone talks about these things like they're absolutely been proven scientifically. And most of the stuff is conjecture and theory. All right. Einstein claimed that light was both particle and wave. But yet, in the theory of relativity, we have light traveling, I guess, trillions of light years away, making some light thousands of years old. And if it's a particle due to gravity, how does light travel for thousands of years and not drop to the ground due to gravity if it's a particle? Just a question. I'm pretty stupid. And it's been explained in several chats, several channels. I'm not that smart. I just ask a lot of dumb questions. Okay? And I never get any answers. Now, yes, we see light bending due to electromagnetism, because light is a frequency in my belief. Where do I get this from? By studying Nikola Tesla. Okay? Now, it's just this simple, people. Either Nikola Tesla, Lord Kelvin, and the scientists prior to Einstein coming up with relativity and special relativity were right about the luminescent ether, or he was wrong. If the ether exists, now this is all I'm saying. Now I can't prove anything, but if it does exist, that would seriously put into question the theory of relativity and special relativity and gravity. That's all I'm saying. I don't know any more than that. Okay?
No, that's true. That's an incredibly salient point. If the ether exists, if the ether exists, then absolutely that would call into question everything we know about light and motion of celestial bodies.
And the whole theory of heliocentrism, my friend, as well.
It may not, but it would. Well, I would change. All of those things. Light is a huge part of heliocentrism. So yeah, it would.
Okay, so that's all.
But
I don't want to start trouble or get a grip or whatever. I try to keep it real.
And that was the whole point of Aries failure. I think that would be a good one to go into depth and hammer out.
And Right. Okay. Well, we don't notice parallax in the stars if the Earth is moving. That's where we have to come. You know, we need to agree upon certain things. There's a lot of theories out there. I'm not, like I said, I only go by what's written down, what I can investigate myself. I don't claim to be smart. I'm not that much up on Einstein. I've had to do a lot of reading and I'm a poor reader. Okay. I'm an auditory learner. I get accused, well, you get all your information from watching YouTubes. It's easy for me to put in my phone and walk around and do stuff listening to someone's YouTube comments or videos or something explaining stuff. Are all these people right? No, I don't know. I have to constantly check out what people say. I've been constantly, and you people know, I've been corrected several times. I've made a lot of mistakes. I wanted to just be a part, and people ask me, why do I do it and everything? I just want to know the truth. I want to understand why there's a certain amount of people on one side that feel that the earth is flat. And it's well worth investigating and talking with these people and having an open dialogue and a civil discussion to hear their point of view. All right. I don't go into globe people, and I like Gems in the chat. I try to be respectful to Jem, Jeremy, Germaticus, Keith. Some of my enemies, even P. Mars. I love Twit. I love everybody. I try to be nice to everybody. I don't call anybody names. And that should stop. The insults and stuff, we can stick to the issues. Like I said, it's not like it's a one-sided deal that heliocentrism and what's portrayed in Einstein and relativity and stuff is gospel. It's not. A lot of people make fun of the Bible. You don't want to believe in the Bible? I won't make this a religious thing either. You want to believe in evolution versus creationism. However, there's two sides to every story. It's not like we're making this stuff up out of thin air. These are what people believed hundreds of years ago and even centuries ago. Within the flat earth community, I'm called a quack because I'm entertaining the Pac-Man looping model, for example. Okay. And, a lot of people don't like that even. But if anybody believes in the A&E map, am I calling them a shill, this and that? I don't care about shillery, about transgenderism, he said, she said. All I know is that some of the attacks and personal derogatory, if these things are true, then, but if they're not, defaming people, and I even get along with Tim Osmond. I try to. He's got a bad rap. I don't know if everything they say about him is true. And these accusations, I just wanted to come on and just say that I hope this project that Nathan has started continues. I think it's good. I think it's good even amongst flat earthers to get in the same platform like it was last night. Awake and Event Skeptics should have took the time to go over their model and talk about their experiment. I'm interested in their work. I don't believe we live in a simulation, but I listen to it. Okay. With even in the Christian community, I'm considered as an outcast. I don't formally toe the line with all the doctrines in Christianity, so-called Christianity. So I get it everywhere I go. I'm not an authority on anything. I'm only a question answer. And I like to ask a lot of questions, and I make observations and try to critically think after being programmed. All of us were programmed into believing one way or another. I don't think flat earth is a psyop. I think it's a realization. This is my own personal opinion. I could be wrong. I'm not asking anybody to trust me, listen to me, but there is people that are far more knowledgeable than I am within this awakening, knowledge discovery, whatever you want to call it, that should be taken seriously. And the stuff they present should be analyzed and critically gone over. And then if you can come up with something that can refute theory without using theory, NASA, and stuff like that, then we're welcome to hear it. I think all of us really want to come down to the truth. That's all. So I'll let you guys talk. Thank you very much for allowing me on, Nathan. I appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you, Billy. Hey, Brenda.
Good morning.
I have some things to react to from what Billy said. I mean, everything is a theory. He didn't say everything's a theory, but I am. I'm saying that everything is a theory. I don't think that things can be known to be true. Absolutely. Unless you include pain and pleasure, then they can. But if you leave pain and pleasure out of it, then nothing can be known to be true, for sure. And then you're just left comparing how many things come true from predictions. How many predictions come to pass from your theories. So the theory with the most predictions is going to be the best theory. And I mean, they're all we have. And I liken it to when people say, oh, that's just your opinion. And it's like, yeah, well, that's all we've got. So let's argue about which has the best opinion. And it's just the case that there are no better theories than the spherical model. The number of things that we're able to do because of it are huge. I suppose there could be some sort of lie, and the world could be far more complicated than we think. And when they're going to space, they're doing something else. But I don't see a reason for that lie to exist. That would be an unproductive lie. Things like SpaceX would not emerge out of the private sector in capitalism with that, because it wouldn't be possible, right? You would have NASA doing a bunch of fake things, and then you'd have other people trying to get to space by doing the thing that NASA's claiming to be doing, and they wouldn't be able to, because it wouldn't work, because it's not the truth of reality. But they are able to get to space, and that corroborates what NASA's doing. And then there are other space programs all over the world, and they cooperate with each other. And all of that has to be thrown out the window if you're going to assume that there's a lie going on and other things. And that's, just use Occam's razor. That's how I look at it. The one with the most predictions is the most useful, and the truth of it doesn't matter. If the predictions come true, that's what matters. So Kim Jong-un, if he's able to get a rocket over here, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if he's worse at it than the United States. It doesn't matter if it took him a real long time to figure it out. He's able to get a rocket here. He's able to get a rocket here. I think I'm rambling, and my thoughts probably aren't all that well connected now.
That's okay.
Not at all. You're doing really well. Hello, Brenda.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hello, Brenda.
It says, oh, okay. Oh, never mind. I'm confused. I was confused about status on the microphone thing. Okay. So I have not had the magical elixir, the black life giver coffee yet. So my brain is not fully functioning currently. So what's up? I generally agree with what Lewis said. You know, it works because there is an objective reality, and if it didn't, if everything was a lie, then or if the round Earth was a lie, then it wouldn't be possible for all these independent space agencies or private space agencies like SpaceX or whatever to do the things they do, because it simply wouldn't work.
Fair enough. And that being said, but however, you would have to agree in ancient cosmology, ancient cultures, prior to SpaceX, NASA, you know, I try not to look at the chat, people. So if you're talking to me back and forth, I get worked up. Okay. I didn't make up the square model. There's a square model out there. The Chinese believed in the square model centuries ago. Egyptians also believed in the square model. According to this story, they were worried that Columbus was going to go off the edge of the earth. They didn't believe in a round globe then either. We're going to go off the edge if you go so far. According to this story, I have no idea if any of this is true. And that's why it's ridiculed and mocked. You know, where's the edge? You're going to go off the edge and so forth and so on.
Well, they weren't.
Okay.
They weren't true. Why should we take ancient stories and mythologies as true?
Okay. Brenda, have you heard of the anti-chimera mechanism, for example?
I don't know what you're talking about. A chimera is an animal that has a lot of...
Anti-chimera, I might be pronouncing it wrong, but anti-chimera mechanism was an analog computer that they discovered in the ocean over in Greece.
Oh.
That was dated to be 2,000 years old or older, that could accurately predict solar and lunar eclipses. So the claim is, and we have a replicated model, okay? And according to the mechanism, okay, it says that the Earth is geocentric, all right? It's the sun and the moon and the stars that are moving, and the Earth is not. That's just one example. Now, whether any of this is true or not, I have no idea.
Well, we know it's false.
Okay. Then the anti-chimera mechanism, we can just check that right off in the documentation and everything in the working model that a creator from the London Museum has replicated the working model.
I'd be
So
interested
they
to
claim.
see that model.
There's videos on it, people. I mean, yeah, there he goes once again. Can't do any research. All he does is watch YouTubes. I got no idea. I'm just throwing it out there for people that want to investigate it further. It's either the true or false. That's all I'm stating. I have no idea. You know, I've watched NOVA programs claiming that the Earth is 6.5 billion years old.
4.5.
I've watched. I'm sorry. Okay, whatever. I could be off. Whatever. I've watched. I personally believe that the Earth is 13,000 years old. That's just my personal belief. How do I get that? By using the genealogies in Genesis. A lot of Christians say it's only 6,000. I claim when it talks about Korah Shem and he called his name, that the person was a progenitor, okay, not a direct father and son relationship. Unless it says, and called his name in Hebrew, the Korah Shem, that means it's direct father and son. If not, the person could have been a grandfather, great-grandfather, or whatever in the next lineage marker. That's how we come up with 13,000 years. Okay, so there's a dispute on the age of the Earth, how we date things. You mentioned...
There's no dispute.
Well,
really? Well, let's say, for an example, lava coming out of a volcano yesterday, and you do a carbon-14 date on it, and it'll tell you that lava is 5,000, 6,000 years old. Now, how's that possible?
Well, because you don't
Okay,
do
just-
carbon dating on lava.
You don't.
No.
No.
Why would you do that? Since
That's what do you do carbon? Excuse me. What do you do carbon dating on?
Things like old pieces of wood, anything that had carbon in it.
I say
Lava
carbon.
doesn't have carbon in it.
No,
How do they date the rocks?
they carbon date
rocks.
the rocks.
Yeah, the rocks have carbon in them.
Sure, they do.
No, rocks are made out of silica, usually, or basalt.
Not all rocks are made out of silica.
Well, with the radioactivity, measuring radioactive half-lives.
So when they burn coal, are they burning silica? Coal?
No.
Coal
No,
is not a rock.
with
Okay, it's not.
when they-
Lava's not a rock either.
when they use radiometric
Yes, it-
dating,
Yes.
they're measuring the half-life, and lava is going to have a significantly refreshed half-life
Mhm.
because the last significant radioactive event for it to happen was very recent, or that was in its experience was very recent. Other things that are not being constantly changed due to extreme temperature and pressure are not going to have that. Their half-lives are going to extend much further into the past. And that's just with the radiometric dating. That's all I have to say there. You mentioned with your adding up the dates and the lineages, that's all fine, but the Earth was there before the people. So that would just be the timeline for people. It's 13,000 years.
Fair enough. It's a fair enough observation. And I'm not, so disputing on the age of the Earth and the scientific method, a lot of scientific method that's being proposed in the heliocentric model, as well as the flat Earth model, is theory. It was mentioned about how can water seek its own level? I mean, we have people that say that it's not. The Earth is so big that you would never notice the curvature. All I'm saying is we do not detect curvature in water. We send up high altitude balloons. We don't see curvature. That's all I'm saying. Just an observation.
Yeah, what you've all said is false. We send up high altitude balloons. We see
Okay.
curvature. We make observations on the ground, and we can see curvature. Water does not seek its own level.
It doesn't.
No.
Okay.
What would it mean for water to seek its own level? What does that even mean?
What it means is that we use water in spirit levels to build things. It does seek its own level. Okay? It's just simple.
You haven't explained to
you
me
ever seen
what
a bubble?
seeking its own level.
You've never seen a bubbled spirit level.
Yes, I know what a bubbled spirit level is.
Okay. If it wouldn't
And why does the
maintain
bubble
level,
move? Why does the bubble move?
all right, Brenda. Let's get into another topic.
No, let's
We
stay on
observe-
this one. Let's stay on this one.
You want to
Stay on
explain
your-
why a
let's stay on
bubble moves in a
Yes.
why a bubble moves in a level? You
Yes.
tell me. I don't know. How's that?
So you don't know. What?
No,
what
all
do
I
you
know is that when I want to build something and I want to plumb it, or I want it to be level, I put a spirit level in it. As a bubble in water. That's what I know. That's all I know.
Hmm?
Now, what do
Right.
you know? If I want to see if something's plumb, if you're building something out of wood, masonry, or anything, we use a spirit level.
Right.
Okay? All right. What?
So why does that bubble move if the object you're laying it on is not level? What makes it move? What force is being applied to the bubble, causing it to move?
It's just due to angled If what's a gyroscope do? A gyroscope shows up.
Let's just stick
and
with
down.
one subject. Let's just stick with this one
Oh,
subject.
okay. We're on a plane. When you move it off of plane, the bubble moves. Just like
Why?
an aeroplane, when it flies across the sky, uses the gyroscope.
Can I show
You're
you?
flying straight on a plane.
But why?
Got some water.
Why does the bubble move?
Can I show
When
you?
you
Can I show you?
when you go off
I'm
of
gonna do it anyway,
plane,
whether you
out
like it or
of
not.
plumb,
Yeah, why does it?
the
But why
bubble
does it do
moves.
that?
Water.
Yeah, why?
Right, here we have water in a container, and what he said is water finds its level. So I'm going to pour water into a different container, which has a flat surface, relatively flat on my sofa, and if I pour it, it finds its level. Eventually, it will stop moving.
No, it actually the water doesn't find its level.
Okay, well, Brenda, it's due to buoyancy. Okay? The buoyancy
what is
of
buoyancy? What is
the buoy-
buoyancy?
Excuse me. You asked me to answer a question. The buoyancy of air. Why does a beach ball, when you suspend it 10 feet under the water, if you're trying to hit on gravity, how can a beach ball full of air rise 10 feet in compressed water if there was gravity?
That's
Why
what
does-
I'm asking you. I'm asking.
Why
I
you
just said buoyancy. You're
Why does
saying
it-
no.
Billy,
You
why
want me to
does
say gravity.
Billy, why does
I'm
that
not going to say gravity.
Billy, why does the ball stop rising when it gets to the surface?
Because the air inside the ball is more denser than the air on the outside of the ball. But
Right,
it's less denser than the water that the ball is in.
Let's imagine that you attach a bunch of magnets to the ball, and then you use magnets with the same polarity to hold it up, and then you can move it around with the invisible force of magnetism. I don't see what the difference in your mind is with gravity, the force of gravity, and the force of magnets, because they're both invisible forces and they both have effects in the world. Magnets follow the same rules of density and buoyancy when you try and push them along. If they run into something that's more dense than the magnet, they're not going to go through it, even if the magnet's pushing real hard.
I absolutely concur with you on the observable, repeatable, and verifiable force of gravity. Okay, magnetism. However, gravity is only a theory.
So is magnetism. It's also
no,
a theory, man.
And magnetism
Yes,
is one of the fundamental forces in our universe, verifiable.
theory.
It is a
Yes,
law.
yes.
It's a theory.
It is a law of magnetism. Excuse me.
There's
Calm
four
down,
fundamental
please.
forces.
Calm down.
Gravity is only a theory.
No,
No,
gravity
that's
is
the
one of the four fundamental forces in the universe. It is a law.
Okay. All right, Brendan.
You said there were four fundamental forces. They are
Mhm.
electromagnetism, gravity,
Magnetism? No,
electromagnetism,
nuclear.
Billy,
The
you've
nuclear
got to let
force.
people talk.
Mhm.
the
Sorry,
weak
Billy.
force, and gravity.
The weak and strong. Gravity's not in there.
Yes,
Look 'em up.
gravity is in there.
Okay. Hold on. Let me mute myself.
Electromagnetism, the nuclear
Hold on.
strong force, the weak
Brenda,
force, and
I
gravity.
could be wrong. I could be wrong. Let me look it up really quick.
Okay. So technically, gravity isn't really even a force. It's really, at least according to relativity, just part of the geometry of the world. And at least according to Einstein, the reason things fall is because they're following the geometric shape, in a sense, of the universe. But of course, we've already discovered gravity waves. There have been a number of experiments now that we've detected gravity waves coming from colliding neutron stars and colliding black holes.
I do stand corrected. Now, this is just a quick Wikipedia. According to the present understanding, there are 4 fundamental interactions or forces: gravitation, electromagnetism, weak nuclear interaction, and strong nuclear interaction.
Correct.
Okay.
Very
All
good.
right. Okay.
Very good.
All right. Okay.
That's great. That's great. I wish
All
it was
right.
always this easy.
Okay. All right. And that proves that the Earth is
It
a
doesn't-
globe.
It
Okay.
doesn't.
Well,
doesn't
okay.
really
I
prove
listen. I can make mistakes. I'm not a very book smart person, Brenda, nor do I claim to be, and I'm willing to be corrected. Like I said, even within this forum in our community, if you want to call it a community or whatever, I've been corrected several times. Can't argue with the facts. If that's a fact, the matter of a fact, and I accept it. Okay?
Well, we can get you
But
to
that's
a ballers
That's
here
a
pretty
far
quick.
cry. That's a far cry in believing in NASA and the moon landings and all the other stuff that goes along with your program to reinforce your heliocentric model. That's all I'm saying. I mean, if it was just that easy, we wouldn't need fake CGI pictures of the Earth that NASA claims they took from the moon. Okay? And we wouldn't need this kind of reinforcement, negative false reinforcement of our reality. That's what I'm saying. Someone's trying to pull one over on us. And I'm not the only one that says it.
Well,
There's
I
even
don't think
people who believe in there's people who believe in the globe that believe the moon landings were a hoax.
Can you
That's
can you
true.
let her
That's all
can you
I'm
let her
saying.
respond to? There's quite a lot of stuff there, Billy. Can you just let her respond to it though, or you, Lewis, for that matter?
Yes, go right ahead, Nate. And it's your show. You do anything you want, bud.
I mean, we just discovered that, I guess gravity is a law, which for some reason I guess gets you off that point, which is kind of confusing to me because that's just a word game, because so is calling everything a theory. Theories are comprised of laws. You understand that, right?
Is
But
that
we could-
directed towards me? I thought Nathan wanted to speak. I'm sorry. I muted myself. You're right. Look at you guys could be right. We say we're right. You could be right. I'm glad this forum we're going back and forth. Okay. I could be wrong. You lay out your case, we lay out our case, and we try to come to mutual understandings and find things that we can agree upon. And then there's certain other things we can strongly agree upon. I agree with your statement that you said that theories are based on laws, observable, but some of the stuff I just brought up, that water does not curve in fluid mechanics, if you did some research into that, and that water seeks its own level, and then you want to the Occam's razor and go back and say that I'm trying to build up some straw man argument that I use a spirit level to build things, and why does that? And I just use everyday common sense applications, and I ask a lot of questions. For example, now I asked about the moon landing theory. Okay,
let me explain something for a second, could I?
go right ahead, Brenda.
I'd like to explain my objection when people say that water seeks its own level.
Okay.
When people say that water seeks its own level, my objection is that the way that is worded seems to imply that water has a desire. It has a desire to seek out a level and create a level surface. And water doesn't have desires. Water doesn't move on its own. No object moves on its own. Objects only move if some force is applied to them. Water can take any shape. It can take a flat shape. It can take a round shape. You could make a water take on any shape imaginable. But it only takes those shapes if a force is applied to it. And the reason that water assumes what we call level is because the force of gravity pulls every single water droplet in a body of water towards the center of the earth. And the result of that is what appears to us to be a flat, level surface. Because of the size of the earth, the curvature does not appear to us immediately. It takes a little bit of investigating to find out that the water conforms to the shape of the earth because there is a force being applied to it, pulling every part of it towards the center. But if there was not that force, water would not seek its own level. It would simply be a blob. And that's my objection, because it sounds to me like this
Brenda,
ancient.
That's
Yes, go ahead,
fair
I'm done.
enough. That's fair enough. Gravity holds things in and holds things down. So on your globe, you have oceans at the top. What does gravity just work?
Yep.
Gravitational pull. Yeah, I understand what the theory is.
Okay.
There, and that the water on the globe doesn't gravitate down.
Yeah,
However,
down is
make it bulging at the center, and centrifugal, and then you have all the gravity. See, your whole model, and I've been told it was a lie, and I try not to read the chat. Let me explain something. If I offend somebody, I'm here for your entertainment. If you find me entertaining and funny and stuff, I try to. I'm having a personal conversation in a room with people. Like if we were sitting across from each other, I'm sharing with Nathan, Brenda, and Lewis. Okay. And so you guys are in on this conversation. So if I'm not paying attention in the chat and addressing all your objections, if I'm making mistakes, I apologize. And I said about the CGI of the picture. Well, we know there's a differentiation in size of the moon. And it's been brought up. If you took a picture from the moon to the Earth would then take up the entire picture, because how much more big is the Earth compared to the moon? So the picture they took from the moon, for example, I'm just lying about it. Just on a hangout, I lie about everything, but listen to my lie now. So we're taking a picture from the moon to the Earth, and the Earth is the same size as that you would observe looking at the moon from the Earth. How is that possible? I'm just saying the size differential. The picture should have been enveloped. If you were looking at the Earth from the moon, according to your cosmology, it would be huge, wouldn't it?
I mean, it just depends on the size of the frame of the picture.
Okay. You got me there. I mean, like I said,
And
I don't know. I
also-
lie, so.
I don't know that you lie.
I
Oh,
wouldn't
I
call it a lie.
I lie.
I think-
Believe me.
I don't.
I lie. I lie for free. People want to call me a shill, Satanist, and all that. I'll tell you straight up, I'm a free liar. I give lies away for free. I just watched a program, a documentation given by a person who did a workshop who claimed to work for the CIA. Once again, I have no idea to verify any of this. And she stated in her little seminar that the average person lies 10 times a day. I mean, we inherently lie, and that's why there's lie detectors, voice analysis. People inherently lie. I can't bring in the Bible because a lot of people won't. It just states that in the Bible as well. So I went on the record and stated that I do lie. I have lied. I've gotten caught in lies in the past, and then I've had to be corrected. When I lied to my parents when I was a little boy, I got corrected on my bottom for lying. So yeah, I had some corporal punishment. I've gone to jail for lying. Okay? All right. I'm not, I'm trying to keep it real. I'm a nobody. You don't have to take my word for it. We're in it to learn. Anybody can Google these things and verify information on both sides of the fence. All I'm stating is that only one of us can be right. That's all.
It's
Okay.
true.
I respect you people. I don't make fun of you. I don't call you names. I listen intently. And a lot of times you got me. I don't have an answer to everything. I'm not Brian Cox. I'm not Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm not Bill Nye. I don't have an answer to everything. But I'm willing, if you give me a few minutes or a couple days, I can research out a matter. That's all.
I don't think anybody's here to ridicule anybody, though. I mean, I think both Brenda and Lewis will agree, I hope I'm not putting words in their mouth, when I say that they're just here to pass on correct information that people may have incorrect, as opposed to say, oh, you're dumb, you don't know this. That's not what they're here for. Or at least I don't think so. Hope you'll agree.
I won't disagree. I wanted Brenda was just getting to the water finding its level, said, well, that implies an agency on the part of the water, which is kind of true. I'd never thought about it from that way. That would imply that water has some sort of motive or something going on there, external to the four forces that we already went over. I think if you took a hose, just a garden hose, were you able to have one that was like 6 miles long, and you just stuck the ends up an equivalent amount from each other, so a few inches off the ground, the open ends of the hose, it's all full of water. And so if you move one end down just a little bit, the water's going to pour out and pour over that end. But if you follow that hose all the way, you're going to discover that there is a bulge in that hose that comes up over the top of these two ends here, and the water is not coming out. And I think that's
simply not true. Sorry, I normally wouldn't interject, but I've got a specific example which I've never aired about this, and it was given to me by somebody who is in farming, and my folks are in farming. But I'll spare you the details of how I came by this information. But somebody was having an issue with drainage, and they had to have exactly that, an extremely long pipe put in across hectares and hectares of land, and it was off by an inch, and it didn't drain. And they had to rearrange it and skew it a tiny, tiny amount. And the measurement was tiny, millimeters over huge distances to get it to drain. Because if it wasn't slightly askew, it wouldn't. It would find its level and stay there, precisely as water does. But that was a problem in farming that was caused by water finding its level.
That wasn't quite what I meant by the hose. But
it was literally, as you've described, as close as can be to your example, was exactly that hose. That's what it was.
Right. So if you have a hose and it's full of water, and these ends are just a couple inches exactly the same height off the ground from each other, the middle of the hose, if it's long enough, is going to follow the bulge of the earth, and that will come up over the top height-wise of where these are, so that if you were to shine a laser down and look, it would intersect the hose.
That would be a very, very long hose.
Yes, of course.
Very long.
I mean, yeah, you'd now introduced a laser, but what I'm saying is, by the nature of the physics of water, what you've just described had exactly that, and the water didn't flow. It didn't, come out of each end because there was a curve in the middle. It just stayed, as I demonstrated earlier, flat.
Exactly. That's exactly the point. The water's staying in the hose despite the center bulge being higher than either end. That's the point.
But would that not suggest, though, that in order to get this end to drain and this end to drain, you would have to lower both ends as opposed to just one end? Because this end's on this side of the curve and this side's on this side of the curve. So by the nature of a curve, if it's all being lower. I'm getting too heavily involved in this debate. I've given my example. I'm going to shut up.
Well, I think I see what you're saying. And if you were to lower one end of the hose, all of the water from the entire hose would drain out. Despite the curve. And that's because the force of gravity is pulling towards the center of the earth from all directions. The force of gravity follows towards the center of the Earth.
Okay, I mean, so I can duck out at this point. I'll say, yes, you are right, hypothetically.
Well,
But in reality, what
that's
was
pretty good.
actually in
Let me make
reality
an
was slightly
observation
different
then.
to that. But hypothetically, I understand what you're saying, so I can duck out. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't have interjected in the first place. Sorry.
No, it was fine. It was fine.
You know, I made these examples before about, you know, if gravitational pull, I don't believe in gravitational pull. If there is some kind of form of gravity, it's not gravitational pull. All right. Grass wouldn't grow upward. Trees wouldn't grow up. There was so much gravity. Okay. How do, you know, water vapor and clouds be suspended? Okay.
Well,
In there, and because of electromagnetics? Maybe?
No, it's because when the energy from the sun hits the water, it's adding energy to the molecules and they rise and they reach a point in the atmosphere where there's a tipping point and their energy is such that they can recombine and form water again, and then they fall back down and the clouds stay there because they are more buoyant than the air underneath them.
What energy from the sun? If the sun was emitting so much energy, why doesn't it burn a hole right through the clouds? How
'Cause
can a
it's not
cloud,
enough
water vapor,
It's enough to get them there. It's
enough to
just
get
a balance
them-
point. That's all it is.
balance point? Okay. I know a lot of people disagree with me on this. I think that the sun is a hyperdimensional projection in our sky, a holographic projection, if you want to say it. That's only miles away in your cloud, and we
So
have a
what's that?
perspective
What's the heat you
bubble.
feel?
You don't feel any heat unless it's like what do they call
I
it?
get sunburned. I mean,
An induction heat. You don't get sunburn if the sun is completely enveloped in a cloud. You don't get sunburn.
no, but if it's out, you do, and that's the energy I'm talking about. That's the energy that makes the cloud in the first place.
You mean a light being an electromagnetic frequency? I agree with that. I don't believe it's a
Sure.
burning ball of hydrogen and helium like
Wouldn't a
proposed in
burning-
your model.
Wouldn't a burning
Nuclear
ball of
fusion,
hydrogen-
excuse me, nuclear fusion, by the way, if you want to talk about the facts, is a theory, never been replicated. We have nuclear power plants that put rods together and produce heat that turns steam generators to produce electricity, but you don't have nuclear fusion going on, smashing atoms together to produce electricity, like you claim the burning sun is.
Yeah, it's not making
a nuclear
electricity. It's not
furnace.
making electricity. It's making a lot of heat, a lot of light.
It's making a lot of heat that turns.
The water into water
Steam
vapor
turbine,
and then into
right?
clouds.
Okay.
I mean,
Well-
it's not. I'm not saying anything crazy here.
You mentioned earlier about North Korea firing nuclear weapons.
I just said
Nuclear-
missile. I don't think they have nukes, by the way.
Okay, I don't think anybody does, because nuclear fusion, once again, is a theory, isn't it?
Sure, just like everything
Have you ever seen a nuclear weapon go off?
on camera.
They claim they
camera.
dropped an atomic bomb, and there's photos, and then it's been claimed that
Russia's-
they just blew up a bunch of dynamite and firebomb, carpeted bomb.
Have you ever seen a bunch of
Hiroshima
dynamite
and
blow up?
Nagasaki. Yes, I have.
And it looks like a nuke, does it?
Not like a nuke, but it does make a
Okay,
mushroom
then
cloud.
how are they
fire,
making-
a fire could make a mushroom cloud.
Not like that. Not that fast. Not bam, there it is, done. No, absolutely not. There's nothing in anybody's experience ever that can do what we see on nuclear footage film. There's
But
nothing.
yeah, according to the theory of atomic theory, how can people still live in the area and not be radioactivity?
Because the radiation dies off on a half-life. Most of it is actually already gone very quickly. The dangerous stuff disappears pretty quickly.
But yet trees and stuff. Okay, can't argue with that then. But I'm just saying, there's both sides to that argument. That's where I come up with this stuff. I just don't make this stuff. I guess I've been accused of just making it up as going along. I wish I could make it up because I'd be a really good author or movie or this.
Yeah.
I could be a good producer. I'm serious. So like I said, I'm a proponent that we have localized suns in our sky. We see them rise in the morning and they set in a rainbow arch pattern. We have people within our community that have 360-degree cameras that are constantly filming the sun, moon, and the stars, and they see the sun and the moon and the stars in an arch pattern like a rainbow in our sky on a daily basis. So there's something wrong. And if you want to go with scientific fact, you can go to, I get accused of this too, Time and Date or SunCalc or mooncalc.com. The wave pattern that we notice of daylight and nighttime on our Earth doesn't work on a globe model. How can you have nighttime, depending on what season you're in now, nighttime in the middle of the Earth and have daylight on both sides? Or have daylight in the middle.
That never happens.
Excuse me, you can go to SunCalc and Time and Date right now and see the wave pattern that they project in the time zones on the sunset and sunrise of the sun and the moon on either one of those websites, and they show a wave pattern. Okay, like an ocean wave. Don't tell me that's not on the website.
That's because you're projecting onto a flat map.
Okay, well, how would you have nighttime in the middle and daytime on both sides of that on a globe?
Well, if you're looking at the,
what are you talking about?
if you look at the nighttime side,
What?
you might see tiny little bits of sunlight coming through, but I don't think that's what you're talking about. And I don't think what you're talking about ever happens. So,
With all due respect, Billy, what you're talking about is nonsense. You don't understand.
Okay, Curve, no problem, bro.
You don't.
You can come on and give me a lot of stuff. I know I don't, Nathan don't, thousands of other people in our
Billy, you're wrong.
people who believe in the flat earth, none of us know what we're talking about.
Billy, why don't you try to show us what you're talking about? Can you bring up a page from Time and Date that you're talking about? And let's find the crux of your misunderstanding here. I don't think you understand why it looks the way it does on that map that they're showing.
Okay. Then if I don't understand and you do, you have the floor. I mean, people can go exactly to what I said. I guess I could pull it up. I'm not too computer savvy, and it shows a wave. It shows a wave pattern. Right now, north of the equator, we're entering fall, entering winter. So the wave pattern would switch over for the seasons. Okay, and so we're going to have daytime in the middle and nighttime on both sides, according to SunCalc.
You're on both sides.
Okay,
you know, on either side of the darkness, it might be shown in the center of the map.
Sec. I guess I gotta go to it. Okay.
Oh, you're so lost, dude. And I'm not trying to be rude. I'm trying to help you out here.
Go ahead, Curve.
I'm trying to help you out.
I mean, okay, right now, I'm looking at, everybody can go to it, suncalc.com right now from my location. All right. I see daylight and the wave pattern is pointing downward and there's nighttime on both sides.
Do you understand?
According to the website. Wait, listen, this is what I'm seeing. I'm not misunderstanding anything.
Yeah, you are.
yeah.
Okay. All right. No problem.
Billy, you are. You don't even know what that map is.
No problem. Okay.
First of all, if you could come to the realization that the map that you're looking at, this rectangular projection thing, is a distortion. To flatten it out, it is distorted from the globe. That is fact. There is no situation where you could take a spacecraft out into space and take a photograph that shows you what you're seeing on that map.
Okay.
You do get that, right? I mean, we don't have disagreement there, do we?
No. You know, doing the use of fiber optics, which is 98% of our communication, I can call people.
Fuck fiber optics, Billy.
Excuse.
Don't go there.
Number
Don't
one.
go there.
Whoa. Number one, this is a friendly forum, and I'm not going to swear at you, Curve.
You're not being
Nathan's
very
already-
friendly right now, Billy.
You're swearing at
Lying
me,
and
bro.
deception is not friendly.
I'm not. I stated a fact
You're
about fiber
provocative.
optics, and you told me to F myself when
To
I
do with
just.
fiber optics.
No problem, bro. I'm saying we can call people up. We're communicating fiber optically right now over the internet, and we can check and ask people to go outside and verify what they see in their sky. So don't tell me the day and nighttime patterns are not verifiable from the Earth, that we need to go up in some supposed space
That's
from
not what he said.
satellites,
I'm not-
make-believe
That's not what he said.
satellites,
Tell him,
Wait.
Lewis.
and
He's
take a picture
That's not what he
of
meant.
what I'm seeing,
Right.
when I
That's
can
not-
call someone up on the phone and ask them to
Keep
hold their
going off
phone
on
to
your
the sky.
tangent.
Billy, that's not what he was saying.
I apologize.
All right?
No problem.
Go to
I
SunCal.
don't want to
Little
get
Go
more
to
worse.
SunCal.
apology, a little more understanding.
Are you at
Okay.
SunCal?
I was.
All right, go back. It doesn't matter where you're looking.
Mm-hmm.
You see the yellow line, the at first yellow line on the right.
Yes, I do.
All right, now at the top.
Are you looking at I was mentioning the darkness wave pattern and the light time wave pattern.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm going to
Okay.
try to explain to you what you're looking at here.
All right. Go right
Do you
ahead.
see the top? Do you see the top bar up there with times, and then the orange dot?
Yes.
If you click that dot and drag it around on that timeline, it's showing you the path of the sun. All right? And that's a localized projection for where an observer seeing that portion of the sky, the yellow moon-shaped pattern that you see, that is the path of the sun throughout the day. That orange line represents what an observer will where they will see the sun at a given time during the day from where they're at.
Okay.
Now,
I got it.
What is there anything? Why do you think that that's supposedly showing nighttime in the middle and daytime on both sides?
It's not right now. Are you looking at SunCal? The daytime is in the middle and there's nighttime on both sides.
Yeah, because it goes day, night, day, night, day, night, day, night, day, night, and so they're just showing night, day, night.
Depending on what
So they're
time
showing.
of season you're in.
Sure. If you change
Okay.
the season, the amount of daylight you get shifts. But if you look at the times up there, you get sunlight.
It shifts
in
from
October
north of the
from
equator
from
to
7
south
to
of the equator.
5 in the evening.
Right. Right. It switches from north of the equator to south of the equator
Hey,
for the
Lewis,
change of seasons in the increased and decreased in daylight hours.
Okay.
Okay.
I think you're having a very simple misunderstanding in reading this graph.
Okay.
yeah, maybe I can be calmer if I talk to Lewis, and if he could be a mediator, perhaps. Lewis, does he understand that, like, the way that is displayed, they do that for the reason that you cannot show the entirety of a globe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when they pull out the entirety of the Earth and put it in this distorted projection, a lot of these people just don't seem to track and follow what's going on, what has happened, and why it is they see what they're seeing. And then that creates all of this, sunlight on either side of the darkness and all this. That sunlight is connected on, like virtually one half of the globe. That's just what happens when you try to represent two hemispheres on a flat rectangular projection like that.
In Curve, if I can interject, I'm glad that you're civil, bro, and I respect what you just said. And yes, it can be represented, and I don't deny that. And there's no reason to swear at each other. And this is when I came onto the program, I asked for unity for all of us, for the sake of humanity, to be nice to one another. That's all.
Okay, well,
And I'm proud of you.
involve
Listen,
deceiving.
I just wanted to give you a compliment. I'm sorry. I want to, I always try to be nice to you, bro. I know you don't like me because I believe in fat, and you call me a liar and stuff. It's something that I'm entertaining and investigating. That's
Billy,
all.
that's nothing personal. I don't like anybody. I think everybody knows that.
All right. Just you know
I'll
what I mean?
vouch for that.
I mean,
If
we've
we-
been on a panel before together. So like I said, and I try to respect, and I give you airtime, and I'm not calling, swearing at anybody, or I don't make fun of it. I try not to. And
All
yes,
right.
I do get emotional, and I apologize.
How could you?
All right, so why do we see what we see there?
I forgive you every time. And I would ask for forgiveness too if that ever needed to be done. But if you go to SunCalc and just zoom out such that you can see all of the continents, right? Just one iteration of the continents. I know it'll put up multiple iterations of them, but just do one, right? And then click within the United States, across the United States, to change the location of the observer, and you see that orange line shift in its angle. It's pointing at the sun, and when you're looking at the Earth at a given specific time during the day. So if you click across over into Europe, it's nighttime there. The orange line completely disappears because it's on the other side of the planet. So you can click around and figure out.
I know it's a very, very compelling argument. You guys,
Okay.
I'm not saying the globe is very, I guess, obviously, if this was such a cut and dry case and the globe was so easily debunkable, I just don't see it myself personally after reviewing some of the other evidence. I do understand why the heliocentric model was put in place and the mathematics work out, and Kepler's laws of motion and the stars and the planets, and why a lot of these things would. But if you really stop to analyze the other person's position too, we have some valid arguments that go against what's being presented as fact. You would have to agree. And this is why we just have these continuous talks and get together in this forum. I don't hate Globers. I never claimed to hate Globers. I don't hate anybody. You have your belief. I believed exactly like you do all my life. I believed that I lived on a spinning globe.
That's so condescending.
I try not to be. Well, then you know where I'm coming from. I've jumped ship, in other words. I got traded to another franchise. I'm no longer in your camp. That's all. How's that condescending?
Now you're better than us. You used to be blind and gullible like us, just believing what we were taught. When we're sitting here schooling you on why we believe what we believe and how we know what we know.
Schooling me? Wait, schooling
Correct.
me?
Correct, sir.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you claim to have sent telecommunications 239,000 miles in the 1960s?
And your argument is
Through the Van Allen radiation belt that you claim is up there?
What's the problem?
That you
with the
got a
Van Allen
radio
belt?
that you got a radio signal?
What's the frequency?
239,000 audio visual?
What's the
Kinda
problem?
hard
What's
to swallow.
the frequency? What's the
What's the
problem?
problem? There's no problem there. If
There
light,
isn't?
if light,
How is
can-
that
Why
an
do we?
argument
There,
against
I got
the Earth,
told.
Do you see how the
told to
conflation
F
happens?
off when I said that we use fiber optic
Conflating arguments.
networks now. Why now in 2017 do we have to use fiber
think so.
optic cables to telecommunicate across the earth when we can
Are we?
do it in the
Oh.
69?
No,
So your
we
argument
can.
is a correlation argument?
All right, I can explain that, and it's because anywhere the wireless signals can be transmitted, anywhere light can be transmitted. So if there's a physical barrier obstructing,
Proving ether, right?
Oh,
how
God.
does the median?
no.
that doesn't.
No,
look,
no.
Billy.
No.
Billy,
Listen,
you-
none of those things
Billy,
prove the Earth is flat, by the way.
Billy, I'm going to tackle
Even
a
if there
couple of
was
things
ether,
here.
even if they didn't go to the moon, all of those things, if they're all true, and we grant you right now that all that's true, it still says nothing about the shape of the Earth, though. So your argument is vacuous.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
I used an argument about the Earth being flat, water seeking its own level, and said no, water doesn't
Well,
seek
You don't know.
I want
You don't know what
to
that
address
means,
what you
Billy.
just said, Billy, about us not being able to go through Van Allen belts. How do we get communication there, and why do we use fiber optics here on Earth? The reason we use, I'll do it in reverse order. The reason we use fiber optics here on Earth is because we can't shoot light through the Earth. It's easier to make a physical connection than it is to create multiple wireless connections, because wireless connections on Earth have a lot of problems with attenuation and going through matter. In space,
Beautiful.
they do not have that issue.
I'm glad you're bringing this up, Louis, because that proves that light is a wave and not a particle. How do you shoot particles?
We can. Billy, let me finish. Billy, let me finish with the three things. Billy, please let me finish with the three things, and then we'll talk about light being a particle and a wave. The second thing you said is, how are we going to get through the Van Allen belts? Well, we had a ship that was built to do that, which was not reusable. Its use destroyed it. Upon returning to the planet, it was unusable. The booster that got the capsule into space fell back down to the planet and is unusable. We can't reuse it. SpaceX is unique. They have reusable boosters. Now, how do we get communications to the Van Allen belt? That's not actually a problem, as I talked about, because there's nothing to obstruct the wireless transmissions through the vacuum of space. So it just can't. You can just transmit. If you can shine a light there, you can transmit a signal there. End of story. Now, with light being a particle and a wave, there's an experiment that demonstrates that, and it's called the two-slit experiment.
I got it, which also proves ether.
No, it has nothing to do with ether. The two-slit experiment has nothing to do with ether.
Louis, don't let them argue. Don't let them get us on an argument that has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth again, because the two-slit experiment can be reproduced with a one-slit and a coherent beam of light, a laser. So with a needle and a laser.
Yeah, but a laser's different. A laser's polarized.
How do you use trophoscatic technology on a globe?
It's a distraction.
How do you use tropostatic technology, which shooting beams into the troposphere, which is ground-based satellite technology, and sent to receivers on cell phone towers on a globe?
Exactly like you just said. You have the signal going to the tower. The tower bounces it off somewhere else.
As the Earth is rotating and spinning, you're shooting a beam in the troposphere, and as the Earth spins, that beam is being picked up and relayed from cell phone towers.
Absolutely. And even if you assume that as soon as the signal leaves, it's no longer having the momentum imparted to it by the motion of the Earth, which we all have, by the way. If you assume that that's gone, the Earth's only moving at like 1,000 meters per second or miles per second. It doesn't. That's not very much in the context of radio waves and transmission of electromagnetism. Those go fucking much faster. Sorry for swearing.
Can you say a quick hello to Mr. Grimm and to Nick L, who's just joined us?
For the warm welcome.
Yeah, I didn't want to interject. My apologies, but yeah, good to have you here. Thank you for joining.
But I mean, I have to say, this has been easily the best conversation about these topics I have ever had.
I'm just as dumb as a box of rocks, man. I don't know nothing.
Well,
I'm here to, you know something.
Wait. I'm here to learn.
Easy to get misled.
Everybody takes me because
psychosis, because we all have a feeling about the government issues. We all distrust, white coats, and we all have a problem with these people who have this appeal to authority issues. So we're all in the same kind of feeling something's wrong. So then when someone comes along and starts feeding a certain psychosis, it's easy to accidentally fall into that and start thinking things that are not true or true, and things that aren't true or are true aren't true. And so, and then there's that misconception because of the dichotomy, the way people, are divided so easily to pick a team or something, that there's that problem with, no one's really doing science. They're just picking a team for camaraderie and affirmation and, good time vibes and all that kind of stuff. And they're not really listening to these arguments. They're not really doing any of the real research. I mean, still, some flat earthers still think that those Flat Earth Stars videos are actually real. They don't even realize that they're just not focusing the P900. I mean, that's got to stop. That's just like, if you really think you're doing science and you still believe that those Flat Earth Stars videos are real and that it's all that elaborate psychosis feeding somatics and stuff that they were trying to tell you it was, then we're really not doing science. I mean, we really get to back up, because how can we explain anything logical to a person who won't even, be logical, or won't even check themselves or their own comfort bias, confirmation bias? It's hard to have a decent conversation when it turns into that, because then it's, funny style people talking, calling each other names, and gets weird real fast, and it's like, well, there's some simple explanations if people will listen to each other. Not everyone has the right answers and everything, but that doesn't mean,
Sorry,
that
Gary,
doesn't. Go ahead, brother. I'm shocked.
I just want to say, I mean, I don't. You're free to moderate your chat as you like, but when people are saying the types of things about me that they are, that's fine, and I would rather address them directly. But you've said that you're moderating, and I feel like some of these things cross the line. At least they do for me. But Shill Scanner, you understand that what you're doing is character defamation and slander, and you don't actually have any evidence for that, which is a legal offense. So you're technically in jeopardy of being charged.
Well, I'll have to, like I said, I take it day by day, and I do listen to a lot of people. There's a lot of people that you associate with that will testify. I learn from everybody. Dramaticus Keith, Gem Panda, Gem and I could probably sit in a room for hours together, and go back and forth, and a lot of you people, just like you state right now, get a bad rap. You do. And if you think I do that to you, let me apologize. It's never my intention to give anybody. We just disagree on certain things. I guess I have more questions than answers. It's like me discovering, hey, well, we were told this. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to call that, that we were deluded and calling people that I'm better than someone else. Now all of a sudden I used to be this, and I said first off that I'm considering examining the research into Flat Earth to see if it's true. That's all I'm doing. I have left the camp. I haven't devoted a lot of time. I guess I got to start all over again and devote more time in studying the theory of relativity, studying all these other things, special relativity.
There's a lot simpler way to know that the Earth, because none of those things, relativity, that doesn't prove that the Earth is round, right? None of those things, what you're talking about, those are gravity. That's why we're trying to help you.
Wait, Mr. Grimm.
You personally.
Excuse me. Relativity is essential to gravity. It's not.
No, gravity. Again, see, even again. You've really got to look into the Thunderbolts project.
You need gravity and relativity for the heliocentric model of the globe, without a doubt.
You're mistaken what the force does with what it is. To do with it. Right. It's just because it's called gravity doesn't mean it's because of space and time fabric. I don't follow that rationale. So even though I know it's a globe, I also don't follow the gravity centric theories. So when that's another thing altogether. That's why I know that it's not, they don't correlate. One doesn't support the other. It's still, the shape of the Earth doesn't have anything to do with the description of gravity, because that's all it is. There's no real explanation for it on the level that it's been explained in modern standard, physics. And I know a lot of people get emotional about that, but it's obvious and true. I mean, otherwise, all I'm saying is there wouldn't be any anomalies like there are in space if their gravity-centric theories were true. And there are all these anomalies.
Grimby, you're correct. We don't have a general theory of gravity of what it actually is. What we have are descriptions
Of what it
the
does.
phenomenon we've given a name to it. We call it gravity.
Yes.
And we have mathematical descriptions of gravity, but we
Yep.
don't know what it is.
But so we do know that it exists and that we can use it in our our models for what we've described, see, as we visualize it, observed it. That's actually what science is, right? Trying to describe
Correct.
the observed
Correct.
natural nature.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm just going to say a quick hello to Albatross, who's just joined us. Hello, Albatross. How you doing? You're on mute at the moment.
I'm doing all right, thanks. And yourself?
Good to have you here.
Ominous.
Thank you.
So basically, all I'm saying is the problem with gravity is not a problem with finding out the shape of the Earth. I mean, that's relatively simple, especially when you see, simple things like moon phases are not location specific, as they would be on a flat Earth model with local sun and moon, meaning location specific, meaning a guy in Texas sees a different moon phase than a guy in New York on the same day, though. See, that doesn't happen in real life, but that's what your model predicts would happen.
Billy, I can't hear you.
Billy.
I'm sorry, I muted myself.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, not on my model. I don't hold to and I agree that they are. You're seeing your own perspective. I don't believe that the moon is terra firma. Not in our dimension. I believe that it's a projection. Okay.
See, and then I'm supposed to follow that.
I'm not asking you to
You know
follow
what I mean?
anything.
Like you
I'm
literally
just stating
hand
what
me like that's like
I'm
me
just
saying,
stating what I
well, the
believe.
Earth is made of unicorn farts riding on. You know what I mean?
No,
And there's nothing I can say against that. Or you
all
could say
right.
against it.
I never said anything
No
like.
offense. No, I mean I don't mean to be rude. I promise. I'm just saying it sounds like you're making
It
up
sounds like what?
something
Can
that
you
no
hit
one
the moon
can.
with a laser?
Yes.
Yeah, which we can do. Right.
Yeah?
We bounce
Yes.
ham radio signals off
Drop
the
the
moon.
link. Drop the link in the side
Dude,
chat.
we bounce ham radio signals off the moon.
We
Amateurs.
do.
Yeah, we do. We do. Did it in high school. I personally did it with my grandfather. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
we do that. We knock on the moon. It's called knocking on the moon. And then you can send that signal after knocking on the
you're
moon to
doing
somebody.
is knocking on a magnetic barrier, which is about 60 miles up.
Well,
Yeah.
why does
If
it
that were
take
true,
2.5 seconds
it
to
wouldn't take
return?
so long to get there.
That's true.
Wouldn't take so long. You're knocking on the moon 239,000
I'm getting
miles from
I'm getting a
Earth, and it
second and a
doesn't
half
take that
relay.
long to
Yeah, a
get
second and a
there?
half relay, a second relay, and a second and a half relay.
Really?
Giving that you've got about
Billy,
given that you
incredulity
got about
is not an argument.
300
All right, not an argument.
in your
Okay.
equipment.
Right.
Good. That's a good one.
That's
It's a
fact.
real one.
That's good.
You see what I mean? Why would you talk to me that way? Are you just gonna flat out call me a liar and you don't even
I
know
didn't
me?
say that. I said that's
You just
good.
said it was
I'm
a good
agreeing.
one.
Whoa,
So
bro.
you're intimating
Whoa.
you're intimating that it's a lie.
All right,
You're
what
saying
is
that's a
he
good
agreeing
one.
with?
A good one what?
I just agreed with you. Don't interpret what I'm saying,
no,
man. I
you're
didn't
not
say
agreeing.
anything about.
He took
You
it
said
back.
that's a
Wimby.
good one, inferring that I'm not telling the truth.
I
Or
think
I
you
said
read.
that's a good one. I'm gonna have to look into it.
I think
You
you read.
called the unicorn. Wait, bro, easy. You're the one that brought up the pink unicorns and stuff, and you started because I made an
trying to make a
observation. I said, in my opinion, I believe. I don't want to rehash it, man.
I know,
I didn't
but
attack you. I'm not
follow the
attacking you
logic,
personally.
right? We're supposed to follow the logic that, well, I mean, if we're having a debate, then I'm supposed to follow your logic for a second, right? So I did. And I said, well, now you're into dimensions. No one's ever proved other dimensions. Now you're talking about things
It's a
that
theory.
have no tangibility
say I
to
proved
physics.
it.
There's no
didn't-
physical attributes to what you're talking about.
I'm not
Right.
the only one that
And we're
believes in
supposed to
hyperdimension.
follow that, even though
Wait,
through the fact that we already have tangible
I'm not
physical
asking you to
evidence
follow.
to provide evidence
Bro.
for our model.
I'm
The-
not asking you to follow. I'm not asking you to follow
Oh,
anything.
come on, man. We're having a
I
debate
stated-
about flat Earth, round Earth, so we're asking each other to follow each other's logic by default. So you don't have to ask me out loud, do you?
Okay, I stated.
I don't know. See what I mean? I don't think we're all working on the same levels. It's going to be really hard to have complex discussions about details that are.
Bro, you're the one that brought in pink unicorns. Is that a complex discussion? You're the one that started.
My
attacking
point
me.
You
exactly.
brought in holographic projection.
You brought in
moon.
exactly. You brought in
Okay.
dimensions
All
from.
right. No.
So that's the same as pink unicorns. Those are untangible objects. I was using it as an analogy because they're two things that neither one of us can prove don't exist. I can't prove that what you're saying isn't real, and you can't prove that it isn't pink unicorns either.
Bro, I just said this
That's all
is
I'm
what I
saying.
believe. I stated
No
it.
one's being rude. It's just saying.
You compare. Excuse me. They reproduce holographic images. They have the technology to do that. So what I said was not that far-fetched. We've seen evidence of holograph projections before.
Okay, let's follow your logic. I'll follow your logic. Billy, I'm sorry. Billy, we're supposed to be together. We're having a conversation. Let's follow your logic. Okay. So when was the hologram?
Bro, they had Tupac
when was
on
the
stage.
When was the
as a hologram?
Logic.
Yes, okay.
Billy,
okay. Now,
when was the hologram invented?
Let's talk about Tupac.
You know something?
Let's talk about when was the hologram invented and when was the first time the moon was ever seen, and just see if we can compare those datas and see if that's
more
true or
importantly than
false.
that. More importantly than that, look at how the holographic technology works. We do not have a setup capable of creating a projection.
Wait a minute.
of
Are we
moon
agreeing
where
that
it is.
holographic technology exists? Then?
Yes, we are.
Absolutely. Follow my logic.
Billy,
does that follow that?
It's something that exists right now, and you compared it to
Not
pink
the capacity
unicorns.
that
How
you're
you could follow
applying.
anybody's circumvented knowledge or.
Okay, Lewis
Do you
was just
think
going
the
to tell you
moon
that it does
is
not
new?
exist in the capacity that you wish to apply it right now.
No problem, man.
do you
Holographic?
not
Does that make
believe
sense
that
to
the
you?
moon has been in the sky for
Let's speak
thousands of
differently.
years, Billy?
I'm just saying this.
Billy, do you
that
think
if,
the moon
that
is
if
new?
our creator, okay, if I agree with what you said, I'm not saying that it's some kind of computer generated. I'm saying whatever we see could be duplicated by mankind. That's scientific. That's science. So if the moon is a hologram, just let me make a disclaimer before I say any more. If the moon is a hologram, man has duplicated that process scientifically and now can replicate holograms on stage in the sky. And if any of the
Not
Project
exactly.
Bluebeam, if
I've
any
gotta
of the
say,
project,
holographic technology doesn't work that way. It requires lots and lots of projectors, all focused on a localized point from a surrounding area.
okay,
For the
we
moon
brought
to
up
be
the
a
ISS
hologram,
earlier.
you would have to have projectors surrounding the
Wait,
entire
whoa,
area
whoa,
where
we
the
brought
moon
up the
exists.
we brought up
What?
the ISS earlier.
Don't go
say,
there. Don't go
Okay.
there. Don't go
all
there.
right. I'm just
That is
saying,
so ridiculously and
all
simply
I can't
repeatable.
wait.
It's
I can't
absurd.
say what the speculation is on that. Some people say it's just a hologram projection in the sky.
They're idiots.
All right.
Some people
And
say
demonstrably
No,
so.
listen, no problem.
There's no
Okay.
need for that. Come on, just keep it cordial.
I'll leave it at that. I didn't say it was. I said some other people. I'm just saying.
And well,
We're having a
then quit
debate.
citing them. If you're not going to stand behind
Okay,
it,
no,
don't
I'm not
cite
going
them.
to cite him. Okay, no problem. I spoke from
Why
my
are you throwing it
personal
out there,
belief.
then?
I got attacked. I
Why are you
cited
throwing it
somebody
out there?
else's belief. I get attacked. What kind of debate is this? I'm not attacking.
Why are you throwing it out there then? If
It's
you're not willing to
entitled
stand
to.
behind it, why are
We
you
were
throwing it out there,
talking-
Billy?
about holograms. That's why
Yeah.
I threw that out there.
So
That's all.
it's stupid.
Okay.
End of. It's dumb.
No problem. End of it. Take the floor, Kurt.
Right,
Go
well,
ahead.
great
Impossible.
timing. Sorry to
Impossible.
interrupt you, Curved Water.
Impossible.
We've just been joined
All
by Issa Mahal. So if I can just say a quick hello to Issa, that'd be really appreciated. How you
Hey,
doing, Issa?
What up, brother? What's happening?
I don't have my guitar.
Curves, you get on it,
Good,
bro.
hey.
I'm gonna start
How
writing
you doing,
songs about all
Albatross?
y'all motherfuckers.
Good to have you
Play
here.
lead if
All
you want. Where's Soundly? Maybe you can whistle for us.
Is it Isa?
Yeah,
I can't hear
what's
Issa
up,
very
All
Billy?
right,
well.
I'm just
bro.
going
How
to turn
you
him up,
doing,
don't
man?
worry.
Chilling, Billy. How you doing? I saw
Issa's
you
very low.
I'm
Can't
turning
hear
it
you.
on,
Doing
don't
good.
worry.
Yeah, boost your volume, Ice.
I'm
Can you
on
hear
it.
me
Don't
now or
worry.
not?
Don't worry.
No,
All right, hold up. Let me take my head. I got crazy headphones. Hold on.
There you go.
there you go. You're
That's-
getting clear.
Here. Is that better or worse?
We're
Yeah,
all
it's better.
contributing.
now
Alright,
you're back
cool.
to medium.
I really want to nail down this holographic misunderstanding.
Lewis, go ahead.
Um, for there to be a holographic projection, you need a lot of projectors from multiple angles. And if you don't have that, then you can't make a holographic projection.
Hey, I think
It's
an
that
important
simple.
point.
So
An
if you're
important
going to
point
say
here.
that the moon is a hologram, you're also implying that there are projectors up there from multiple directions surrounding the moon to create that projection.
Yeah, who is he saying is projecting this moon, and from where,
Okay, I'm
and for how
saying-
long has this been going on?
Wait. I know a lot of people make fun of Eric Dollard and stuff like that.
For good reason.
Okay, he believes that. Okay, he's a doc. Listen, I got attacked. I misquote a lot of doctors. Apparently, Eric Dollard is a PhD. Maybe I'm in electrical engineering or whatever, a scientist or whatever. Worked for RCA. I have my limited knowledge, but he claims that the sun is some kind of transformer. That's
Right.
all it can be. He says it's well understood. He's been on the record that's saying that the sun's not burning anything. For example, just follow me. Okay. He says that possibly the sun is transforming energy from another dimension. That's what he says.
This
Sure.
is talking about Eric Dollard.
How is that
And-
like how is in any way that a simpler and more useful explanation?
I know.
If wait a minute. Wait, whoa. If the
What Eric Dollard means by that, he's
We-
talking about transverse magnet. He's talking about magnetism in counter space.
Okay.
And if you don't
Listen,
understand that, you don't
I-
really understand his
I'm not
terminology.
understanding.
So
Listen, wait a
can you
minute.
stop
I'm not
interrupting me so I
understanding.
can
Wait,
easily
whoa,
fix your problem?
Okay.
Holy shit, I got a Band-Aid for you. So
Bro,
Yeah.
you wanted me to explain.
I
Why
did
I
not want
thought-
you to do any. I was only
Okay,
stepped in. I
never
just
mind.
stepped in.
Yeah.
I
I
guess
just stepped in,
anytime.
bro, to tell you
Whoa.
something.
And
I
Billy,
wasn't
you
wanted
still
saying
haven't
anything.
addressed it.
Really, I
You
haven't.
still haven't addressed it. What's projecting
I'm
the moon?
trying to.
What's
I'm
projecting
saying
the
the moon is a different type of light energy. I don't believe that the moon is a reflection of sunlight. Several other people don't believe that either besides me. So
It
the
clearly
moonlight
is.
that is
Continue.
being projected from another dimension, probably, which is a theory that we live more in a three-dimensional universe. Even Einstein, your guru,
Not my guru.
We're not talking
All
about
right.
that.
He
It's still
entertained-
complaint.
I'm sorry, I
Still
shouldn't
three
say stuff.
dimensions.
Okay.
There-
You don't know
I
what I
retract.
think.
I retract that. Dr. Einstein also entertained the theory of hyperdimensionalism as well. So these things that I'm saying don't come from Alice in Wonderland, and there's some kind of psychosis, which I got labeled that this is some psychotic type of mental derangement.
Oh,
Okay.
can you tell us about
Even
the
Alice in
dodo?
Wonderland came from our mind.
Yeah, tell us about the dodo.
No,
Okay.
No dodo?
Come-
no dodo.
You want me
Okay,
to
no
talk
dodo.
about the dodo? Okay.
No dodo.
That's good. Listen, Curve, I love you, man. I hope these people are getting a good laugh in the chat. I mean, I guess I always liked Red Skelton when I was a kid. You know, I guess I get labeled as a clown, big nose, goon, stuff like that.
But Billy, I would say this is that there's really two ways to have this argument, and you're getting caught out in the second one. And the two ways to discuss this subject is one to point out the scientist, the scientism, the religion that these gentlemen are involved in over here, and then there is and point out.
Don't precept me,
Don't
Isaac.
brand me with that.
Don't precept me, Isaac.
See,
You know better than that.
Remember, guys, there's sex in there.
Dude, I'm an EU
So you don't wanna-
theorist. I'm a
it's like-
plasma
it's like-
cosmologist. Are you
like-
kidding me?
it's
Are you
like-
kind of throw me in the
Hold on,
bucket
hold on.
with standard
Hey,
model
just try
physics?
Try not to talk for 5 minutes. Hold on one second. The thing is this: is that you're dealing with.
I'll try, I said.
Different. I know you're lame. You can't do anything right. I know. The thing is this: is that what do you call it? If they're part of sectarianism, little religious factions. So the thing is that either you're pointing out the heliocentric, holes in their, the holes in their game, or you're talking about eccentric fourth dimensional shit, which is not really gonna fly in light of certain crowds. Which, so there's two conversations. One is poking holes in the heliocentric belief. The other is trying to explain how the sun operates. And that's a foolish task, in my opinion. And I think it's something we're all kind of, we have to open up our imagination to think about if we're going to think about it independently of the, the accepted model.
Hey, Asa, can I ask you a question?
I already told you, Billy.
Grims,
I already told Billy that.
shut up, dude. What's up, Curve?
Don't degrade the conversation just because you come in.
You already did. You're here, right?
Come on, he's talking to anyone else like that, Isa. Why don't you relax a little bit?
Come on, Isa.
Billy, I just told Billy that same thing.
Isa,
which is funny. I just
Look,
told him
Grim,
his argument.
I do want to hear what Curve's got to say to Isa, though.
Yes, so do I.
Real quick, this is real simple. I'm curious as to why, when the basic topic discussion is about the shape of the Earth, why do we veer away from that and talk about things like poking holes in the heliocentric model? Because to me, I don't really care about geocentric versus heliocentric. I care about globe versus flat. I know it's a globe. I despise flat. I don't think that's a secret. And I wonder why we don't just address it head on and deal with the shape, things that are 100% directly relevant to the shape.
Right. But your shape is founded upon the mechanics of heliocentrism, actually acentrism, really.
No, not really.
No, actually, no, it's not. That's where the conflation begins.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let's get it straight then. Okay, so you guys are all geocentrics.
No, they're unrelated, separate topics.
Oh, no. Okay, well, hold on. Are you sure? Because
you can. Look, Isa, you can have a flat.
It's not that complex, Isa.
Hold on. There's lots and lots of people against one guy. Can you just let Isa talk? Come on, whoa. One at a time. Let's just let Isa have his time.
Hold on. Everybody shut up. Hold on. Dude, is this how you talk?
Go take your meds, bro. Go take your meds. Yo, look, the thing is this. Okay, let me get it straight. Look like this, guys. Do you guys believe in dark matter?
No.
I don't care.
Okay. See, there's different sects of this religion. You got to check it out. You got to find out what branch you're
I don't have a religion.
You're condescending, calling me the religion again.
It's not just
it's not a religion.
This is a degraded conversation. Isa, you're cheap.
Why do you guys act like
you're a one-trick pony.
Why do you guys act like we're
it's ad hom with you.
You have knowledge.
We're not acting like that at all.
Isis toolbox, straw man, ad hom, pre-sup.
Can we give him a chance to justify what he said?
And in the center of the universe. It could also be flat, and the sun could be in the center of the solar system. So you could have a heliocentric flat Earth or a geocentric flat Earth. So they're not related. We're just talking
Excuse me, but we notice with our own eyes visually through even videography that it's the sun and the moon that are moving in the stars.
Well, first
how do you distinguish the difference?
Billy, first off,
how do you distinguish the difference?
Yeah. How do you know it's those moving around us rather than us rotating around our axis? How do you make that distinction?
Also, remember, videography is not a word, Billy. Make it a question.
That's true.
Okay, no, listen,
that's fine.
Well,
listen,
this is about details. Fuck it.
We knew what he meant.
Okay, Isa, I'm open to be corrected.
I got you, brother. That's why I'm talking.
All right, bro. I love you.
I love you too.
I
want you to be the best Billy fucking Sunday out here, motherfucker. That's all.
Okay. I myself personally, I can't speak for anybody else. I don't sense any motion. Now do you come to think about it? And I believe that the clouds are moving. I don't believe I'm moving underneath the clouds. And I visibly see the sun rise and set in my sky on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. So I'm actually seeing the sun move across my sky.
Okay. Now
I see the sun shadow on my sundial. Okay.
To the point, though. See, I'm not asking you what you believe. I'm asking you how you distinguish the difference. Do you get my point?
Okay.
That's why I interrupted to cut you off so you don't keep going down that road. That's not the question. It's not about what you believe.
I stated that I don't sense any motion.
Why would you?
I guess, why would I? I sense motion in a car.
Not when you're going at constant speed.
In an elevator.
When you're going at constant speed.
There's nothing about the model that says you should feel the rotation of the Earth.
Okay. Well, the thing is this: in the increase, and I know in the elliptical orbit of Kepler and everything, the change of seasons and the change of daylight hours, the sun would have to speed up and slow down in your model. In other words, for the change in the daylight hours.
In whose model?
In the spin
in the
of
globe?
Earth. In the globe model.
What? No, it has to do that in a flat Earth scenario.
Are you talking
In the
about
circle-
a sidereal
in the circle
day
map,
or? I think.
Right,
there's a
but Billy,
confusion.
that's not their model. That's why you got to get your language straight. Because the thing is, it's not their model. In the flat Earth, the thing is that a lot of people have a problem with is the idea is that the sun would have to make up extra speed going around the edge of the flat, Earth model, the AE map, let's say. So, like, if that's the case, this is what leads some people, like myself, to think possibly we're dealing with a projection versus a solid object moving across the sky. Because then the speed would have to speed up.
And
Okay.
on top of that,
that's all.
On top of that, the sun has to do impossible things in a flat Earth scenario.
Well, hold on now. What's a
gonna-
selenium? That's an impossible thing. On the globe model. On the globe model, the selenium is practical. I mean, explain, or Curve Water, maybe you can explain a selenium and how that happens on the globe model.
As far as I know, there's a little bit of refraction involved.
Can we explain? First off, let's explain. A selenium is a lunar eclipse, but both the sun and the moon are above the horizon.
Yeah, not by much though, as far as I know.
It doesn't matter. Well, not by much.
I'm not a Well, you have to understand that near the horizon,
It does matter.
there is refraction going on, where the sun has already actually set, even though we see it, and the moon has not yet risen, even though we
How can
already
it set, but
see
you
it.
can see? How would you say it's set, but you can see it?
The difference between what we see due to refraction versus using straight lines and where its actual position is at the time. Lewis, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, and the fact that we don't see it when it isn't an extreme case like that. That's an example of an extreme case. If we saw it as a normal thing, your point would stand.
Okay, so you accept that it's like almost, it's an abnormal thing that you can't explain fully.
No, we can explain it fully. You may not accept that explanation, but
But you're saying, hold on, okay, let me just get this straight. So you're saying that the sun looks above the horizon due to refraction, and the moon is above the horizon,
Right.
but somehow the Earth can create a shadow, even though they're both above the horizon.
Yes, and it has to do with where the
You see how?
observer-
Do you see it?
It's light refraction through the
also has to
atmosphere.
It has to do with
Sounds
where
like a
the
religious
observer
planet.
It separates
has to
the
do with
red
where
and
the
the blue.
observer is too. It's very important that the observer be
Right.
right on that tangent. If the
It
observer
separates
isn't
the
right
red
on that
and the
tangent,
blue.
they won't see
You
it.
guys are retarded.
Oh,
Oh, come on, Issa. You really want to
Wow,
go there?
is anybody talking to
it
you
just
like that?
sounds
Even though we
retarded.
easily could be. I mean,
It just
really
sounds
easily
retarded.
could be.
You
saying
obviously
that.
are, Grim. It's
But
not
picking
up
on
for debate
retards
anymore.
is not fun. So we're not going to. So the whole point of this is to discuss the reason why diffraction is one of the parts of the refraction problem that you're not thinking about. Because in diffraction,
that's-
the light.
if that's good enough
Are you
for
going to
you,
interrupt
Grim.
me every time I talk? Can you
Yeah,
just
why
shut
not?
up for?
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously, Issa, just let him speak. Let him get to the
Swallow
end of his
a little bit
sentence.
of
There's no
medicine
time
there for a
restraints.
second there, partner. Thanks. All right. So anyway, the light is diffracted. The red and the blue waves are separated, being that blue light travels faster. The red light is there trapped and bent down onto the moon, and the moon therefore looks red. It's also called a blood moon when it happens.
I
Lesson
don't
over.
think we're on the same page, but
You have a problem with blue light traveling faster than red light, Lewis?
no, I thought we were talking about the lunar eclipse when both objects are visible in the night sky on opposite ends. Now, and my counterpoint to that initially was, well, if they were both in the night sky but not on opposite ends of the sky, on opposite ends of the horizon, then you would have a point. But it
How can
only
it-
occurs when they're exactly dead ass opposite ends of the horizon.
That's a good
hold on,
point.
hold on.
How could it be a curve
Hold on.
if you see them both in the side at
How
the
can
same
you
time?
how can you pinpoint where the sun is if you guys already
Because
admit,
those
as you already
objects are
admit, that
moving.
you can't
And they're not in the same
identify-
spot all the time.
Listen, man, how can you identify where it is when you said due to refraction you're already misled?
We didn't say we can't identify where it is. That's your misunderstanding and
Well, if the sun
misrepresentation.
is okay, first off, all right, then let's clarify this. You said if at nighttime, right? Well, if the sun's above the horizon, it's not nighttime, right, Lewis?
Sure.
Okay, so already you understand where a selenium is a very I mean, it would be interesting if you guys could just say, yeah, it's an interesting event that we can't fully explain. If you're going to come with the standard, no, you're coming with an academic model that if that's good enough for you, Lewis, then that's good enough for you. It's not good enough for myself or other people, right?
All right, that's fine.
Yeah, that's all. It's like you accept something that is to me seems ludicrous.
That's fine. I accept a lot of things that a lot of people think are ludicrous, and I think they have no benefit to my life whatsoever, but I think they're the best explanation nonetheless, so I go with them if I'm interested in the topic.
Is that is that formulated because of an authority figure gave you that outlook?
I am the ultimate authority in my life, Issa. You should really know this by now.
Are you sure you aren't maybe moved by desires outside of your fucking control?
No, the desires are completely within me. They're totally within me.
You're such I like your mysticism. I might be Lewis. See, this is where we get the religious doctrine.
Everyone's got it. Everyone's got a little piece.
Amen, brother. Amen. I'm not trying to question anyone's religious doctrine. It's just let's just prove it as such. If it's a religious doctrine, that's fine. But if we're talking about science, we've got some questions.
No, this isn't my. Yeah, the selenium or whatever term you called it, where there's a lunar eclipse where both objects are just barely in the night sky on opposite ends.
No, first off, it's not what I call it. It's what it's called.
That's great. That's what it's called.
Right, and it's an interesting.
It only happens when they're on opposite ends, man. It doesn't happen when there's even a little tiny bit of difference as soon, and it only happens for a short period of time for the few people who are right there on the tangent where those three objects make a line.
Right,
the moon, sun, and observer make a line.
I mean, I just think it's a little bit. It's more interesting. I think it's interesting that there is both the sun in the sky and the moon in the sky, and yet they say that the Earth is casting a shadow on the moon. It just seems against my logic.
Well, set up three balls. Set up three balls.
It's weird how you don't realize how light is being the light is actually bent. So the image of where you think the light is at the point of
go to Hobby Lobby
hitting the atmosphere, it's not really right there. That's the whole point. So
go to Hobby
the sun
Lobby
isn't where you see it
styrofoam balls
on the atmosphere,
right? And then shine a flashlight in line with them, right? And then raise the small one that represents the moon up such that it's exactly the top of it is at exactly the height of this one over here, and such that the light or the shadow from this ball is being cast onto it. And then imagine that you're a little tiny fucking thing right there. You're going to be able to look over there and see it.
Yeah,
and you're also going to see the light
on
over
the horizon. It's really below the horizon.
We're dealing with.
But you see it on the horizon. It's really already below the horizon, though. But the image of it is on the horizon to you because that's where the light is being bent to your view.
And so let's not forget,
it's like a light. It's like a pencil. Put a pencil in water, and then you'll see the bottom of the pencil is not really where the bottom of the pencil is, because you can put your finger in there, and then your finger will also look weird to you, and you'll be like, "Where's my finger?" So it's not really where you think it is because of the denser medium that the light is passing through. That's what's happening.
Okay, so then maybe we can hold on. So maybe we can admit Aristophanes didn't know what the fuck was going on, right?
You might be able to admit that, but if you look at a ball, that means our vision of the night sky is ever so slightly greater than 180 degrees.
Yeah,
which is allowing for this type of extreme case, which was my point from the beginning.
Which is also why you can see the sun set in particular spots where flat earthers think it's incredible that why could you possibly see it at the same time, the sun in these two locations, and it's because of that very exact explanation.
But then in the same
breath, a little over 180. That's why, and no one's giving that in their refraction math.
So we admit that it's a hard thing, right? Okay, so it's tough to pinpoint where the sun is, right?
Well, not really. That's the point.
Oh, now it's not? Now it's not?
Well, once you account for the actual refraction and you know the depth of the refraction and you understand that, now you can make a more valid.
Okay, so hold on. Did Aristophanes account for the refraction?
We're not talking about that.
Well, no, he's the one who said it's a round ball, right?
Yeah, but see, lots of people since him have said it too. So we're not going to just go to the one person you can find flaw in an argument with when it doesn't make any difference.
Well, I'm just saying it's inconsistent.
It's a cheap tactic, dude.
It's inconsistent,
I'm cutting you
right?
right now. I'm nipping you in the butt.
You're inconsistent.
I will have to say that was funny, guys. I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
It was.
Yeah, it's inconsistency, and this is the thing: is that it's like it's refracting on when we need it to, and then it's not refracting when we don't want it to. It's like it's kind of like a religion, guys.
Not
You're
really.
just word salad right now. Can I get a little dressing with that?
Look, just because you try to sound like Tim Osmond, and
you know what religion is for, right, Issa?
Is that what that is?
That's what
Religious
you sound like.
answer fundamentally different things than what science does. So
I know you're going to get mad at me, but it's written in a book that the Earth does not move. I didn't write the book.
that's fine.
So the book says that. You can throw the book away if you want. I didn't write it, but all Billy does is watch YouTube videos. Well, in the book, it states that I got it out of a book, so I do more than watch YouTube. I do a little bit of reading. Somebody
Can you give
wrote
me
it
the
in
title real quick? I'll look it up.
Yep. And it's also in the book that it says that the sun and the moon stood still.
Yeah, that's
not that the Earth stopped.
That's a real extraordinary claim.
Well,
I'll tell you what they meant by the book.
I know what book it's written into.
Stood still because it doesn't move north. It doesn't move north for 3 days, and then it's resurrected as it moves south again after the 3rd day. Does that sound familiar to you? That's called the sundial,
sure.
And it works on a sphere.
Yeah,
that's why.
But this is the great thing.
On the northern hemisphere.
This is the great thing. We have to reposition that sundial 4 times a year during the equinoxes too.
That's right. You know why? Because the Earth is tilted. Derp.
That's one explanation.
That's the explanation. That's why we have seasons as well.
It's the simplest
The
one.
Equator,
it works the best.
That's why you don't walk around.
The equator is straight in my model.
Show me a magnetic.
Not disputing that there. Okay. And that the Tropic of Capricorn and the Tropic of Cancer are straight.
Seems like we keep on doing our flat Earth research, not realizing which north we're supposed to use. When we're talking about doing debunking the equinox. That was 12 degrees off.
What do you mean debunking the equinox? I don't know what you're saying. It sets
the equinox 90 degrees, where everyone on Earth.
Excuse me. It rises 90 degree east and sets 90 degree west. I don't dispute that.
How does that happen on a flat Earth?
Right. It cannot happen on a flat Earth.
Earth is a square.
No, that's not.
It still can't. Not even if the Earth was a square, it couldn't. Nice try.
Really?
Try what? Can you try to illustrate that?
The flat Earth map says that the sun is moving around the Earth.
Moving in a straight line. That's what I believe.
That doesn't work, Billy. If you draw this, you'll see it.
You're doing that on your flat Earth model.
You need an illustration, dude, and you'll see it cannot work.
Well,
you think you've solved the problem because you have it imagined in your mind, but if you try to illustrate it, you'll see that's not possible. That doesn't solve a thing, making it square. And the sun moving in a straight line.
I believe that we live in a looping.
It does solve a couple of things for us, though.
4-dimensional model.
It doesn't do the equinox.
You're really talking to somebody who's not going to try. He's not even trying.
Wait a minute. What do you mean? I'm talking to someone who won't try. I believe in a 4th-dimensional universe. That's my belief.
Okay.
And it works out fine. And you're saying I don't. If you believe in the 4th dimension, everything works in the model.
What is
square model?
No.
Man,
no. How do you draw it? Draw it.
All right.
See, he's not trying. He's something weird's going on
here.
Wait a
minute. What do you mean I'm not trying? We have people in our community that have mapped it out.
No one's mapped it out.
This is a lie. You're literally lying, Billy.
Excuse me.
There's no
excuse me.
The way
Hold
Charles
on.
is a joke.
We
Come
have
on.
free energy.
Come on. What?
Mike Helmick, Mr. Thrive and Survive,
Moron.
Daznaz, as well as
Moron.
Wake Soul, and as well as Flat Earth Conspiracy. So don't tell me there ain't
Moron.
other people.
You're
Moron.
naming
What?
all goofballs.
Moron.
You're naming goofballs, dude. You know that, right? People who really
Oh.
are not that smart.
Wait,
They really are, and they're
okay.
feeding on your
Listen,
This is all
psychosis.
dirt, Billy. This is all dirt.
Wait, here we go. Wait a second. Here we go. Feeding on the psychosis. You name me to ask me. There's no models mapping it out. And I suggested that all these people, if people want to know that are watching this chat, you can go to Free Energy's
Okay.
channel.
They all have. We've
Dude,
all
Wait a
seen
minute.
all
You
of that.
asked me to show. Whoa, wait a minute. You asked me to show some type of model.
It's not a model,
Which
though.
I
You
can't
didn't do it.
Yeah, you
Hey,
haven't
Billy,
done it.
Billy,
I'm
You didn't
Billy,
explain.
screen
You
share.
just said
Billy,
it's square, but you couldn't back it up, and we don't
Billy's
care.
screen share.
We can
You can't
By
back up
default,
the
we know it's
globe
not
or
square
show any curvature.
because
We're
observation.
doing
You
it
come
right
on
now.
these
Yeah, we
panels.
can.
We're doing it right
I
now.
literally
on
can.
and on. Build straw mans of your own, then try to take them down yourself.
We're doing
Put
it
a
right now.
feather in your cap. Show me curvature.
All right.
Show
No,
me
I've
a
already done it,
scientific.
Billy.
I-
You're
the equinox-
disingenuous. I've done it
The
to you
equinox
personally.
shows
I've
the
shown you.
curvature, Billy. The
shown
equinox
you.
shows curvature.
Okay.
It's the only plausible explanation for what we
The
see from
horizon
the Earth.
shows curvature. The sun not shrinking off into the distance shows
I
curvature.
never
Whoa.
said the sun shrinks off. I just got done telling you I believe in a fourth
It would
dimensional
have to.
universe.
So
So don't
what?
put
Alright, so
words
is that
in
a-
my
What's
get it.
mouth.
fourth? What's your fourth dimension? Smell?
Wow.
Time?
Is your fourth dimension
No.
your get out of factory card?
That is funny, Grim.
Sorry.
Okay. Joke's on me once again.
No,
No, the
Billy,
joke's-
Billy,
the joke's
Billy,
not
check
on
this.
anybody.
No, that's
Well,
all right. No,
can I
that's
say
okay.
something?
Come on,
I can
Billy.
take it.
I'm
Billy,
really
Billy.
asking. I thought
Doesn't
can-
name a
you can
guy.
do better
Doesn't
than
name
that.
a guy
I
on
thought we were
this
gonna get
panel that'll
4D
beat me in the
internet.
arm.
No,
Listen
one
to
at a
me.
time. We can't hear anything
There ain't
anyone's
a guy
saying.
on this panel that'll beat me in an arm wrestling match.
So that means it's
Bring your
flat.
number. Listen. Bring
Hold
your
on.
number 2
It must
pencil.
be flat.
Hold on, hold on, hold on.
Snap
It
your arm.
must be flat.
Gentlemen.
But I'd probably
I just-
snap your arm off.
Gentlemen,
You
stop.
would?
with the- Stop.
I
with
said
the-
no offense, but I'd probably snap your arm off.
Gentlemen,
I don't
gentlemen.
think so.
Billy,
Oh,
Billy,
no,
be
I
a
do.
Chris. Billy,
Well,
just be a Chris.
There
Turn the
you
other
go.
cheek, bro.
You can't
I'll
even
break
agree
your
on
old
that.
wrist.
Oh my God.
Set
Yo,
the
guys,
time up.
guys, can we just? How about this? We just do an MMA fight. I'll set it up. We can do this. The point is that on another level. Yo, look at this,
That's
though.
good.
Let me
I
explain.
like
Explain.
it.
Hold
I
on
love
one
you
second.
guys.
Real
Meet
quick,
me at
real quick.
Uriah Favor's old gym in Sacramento.
Dude, guys, hold on one second. Look, how about this? It's just the idea that what we have to recognize as flat earthers is that heliocentrism is beautiful. It explains a lot of things. It's romantically fucking awesome. I like it. The thing is that it's like you said, Billy. We have a hard time with the notion that we're not detecting the curvature at the mathematics provided.
You are,
that's-
though.
We do,
You
though.
misrepresent
Look,
the line of
how
sight
about
with
this?
the horizon
That
line,
may
and then
be-
you're
and let me
so you're
explain.
misrepresenting the
Gentlemen,
formula, and by default, ipso
have I not
facto,
given
you won't
hold
get the
on,
right
I've given
result.
Okay, hold on now. I've given you the credit of that heliocentrism is, it explains quite a bit and explains it, and it has answers and all kinds of stuff for everything, and something that people should be aware of and know them fully. The thing is that there is this our own observation, which is that we don't sense movement. It appears the sun, the moon, and the stars are moving over the sky in front of us. It seems like this, and what we are asked by heliocentrism is to go outside of our senses. And that is a thing that right now, like we've all pretty much are aware of, and we've heard it said again and again, this is a return to the senses. And this is the notion that even Einstein admitted that there was no way to detect motion. Hubble called it a horror. He looked at it like it was like the idea of geocentrism was horrific to them. Actually, Grim, maybe you can answer. Why do you think those scientists think it was horrific to have a geocentric universe or geocentric Earth or geocentric universe, I guess, rather.
Solar system, at least.
Why do you
Horrific.
think? Well, why did he call it a horror?
Who at scientists?
Edwin Hubble.
Because
Edwin-
of observations.
So it's horrific to have a geocentric.
Yeah, it would be ridiculous, for in other words.
Well, no,
Moronic.
he said in the same breath, he said you can't prove it wrong.
Can we get a
Yeah.
mechanism for the retrograde and the
Sure can.
equants and all
Well,
that
no.
kind of
Why,
stuff?
I want to know. Hold on, Curved. Why did
Who
he
called
think it was,
pendulum proves it wrong.
Why did he call it horrific?
Simply.
Why did he call it horrific, man?
Well, it's
Ask
kind of
him.
nonsensical.
I know.
No, but he said
Why does it
no.
matter?
He said, listen, I'm asking you guys. Is that this is some of your high priests? This is
I don't
their
have an
level.
appeal. I don't have an
No,
appeal to
stop
authority like that.
Issa. Stop
He's
it.
not a high priest to me.
Okay.
That's a
But
cheap tactic, and there's
all right.
no
So
need.
why did he say? Okay. So why is it so horrific to these people that it would be geostationary? And
How
Because
would
it's
I know, dude?
nonsensical would be my answer.
Yeah, that's a better word I would have used.
he said no. In the same breath, he said
Irrational.
you can't prove that it isn't geocentric.
But I just wanted to bring this point out really quick. See how you
Until
guys
you got
don't-
outside of the atmosphere with your equipment.
wait, you guys, you see how you don't
Prove
like
one
being
way or another.
taunted and stereotyped and labeled and stuff? Gets on your
Falsely.
nerves.
Falsely, Billy. But the
Okay, bro,
priest-
but I know. I'm just saying
and
whether
all
it's
that.
falsely.
Billy, you just said the Earth was a square. Come on, man. Take a bow.
Wow. Okay. So I'm not in this debate. I'm not entitled to bring forth what I'm researching out right
Well,
now. That's
Can
all.
you screen
I know,
share
it
that
feels like
square
a
map
video.
yet?
Because
you
you
got
keep
it?
on saying ridiculous
The screen
things. We
share
got
yet?
to
I can
talk about
refer-
the actual
I can
flat
refer-
Earth model.
Excuse me, I
What
can
we're talking
refer-
about.
I could refer you to Awake Souls channel. A lot of people don't like him. They give him a bad rap. Whatever. He has a model. He claims
That's
to have.
It's not what you said.
He's got it all
It's
laid-
not what you
Wait a
said.
minute.
Oh my God.
All right,
He's not-
Daz Nez, for example, Darren
Anybody-
Nesbitt has a square model. Flat Earth Conspiracy
Can we
has
see
the
it? Can you show us the Equinox working on Darren Nesbitt's square model?
Can you work out the time zones for me?
I really hate to call it a model, but I'm just repeating what you said.
Okay, I'm just
Can you
telling
show it
you,
working?
he has the video where he states, and he makes a pretty good case. If anybody's interested,
To who?
his
If
any-
That's like American Idol. You know, you sound great to you.
okay. It's okay. No, here you're shutting Isa down every 5 seconds when he says.
No, I'm not shutting
trying-
anybody
you
down,
asked me a
man. I'm just
question.
listen. You're
try to
being
bring it-
comical. I'm being comical back.
Okay, no,
That's all.
It's comedy
Just
show.
being friendly. Yeah. No.
All right.
Well,
no
it
Yeah,
is,
problem.
Matt,
I
it's
just
funny.
dropped a few names.
it is
You
on
say
so
the-
many different levels. I wish you could understand that.
Right. But Billy, you drop names attached to maps that aren't even what you were talking about.
Okay, hang
Like
on a second.
Awake
Let
Souls.
me see.
Awake
If I
Souls
got a
doesn't
little.
belong in the conversation
Hang
of
on.
your square map. With the straight
Yeah,
line.
I see what's funny though, yo, Grim. I was totally waiting for you when I brought up the Edward Hubble quote. You know, the horror. You're like, yeah, the horror of the educational system allows people to.
I was going to. I promise.
No,
But
I knew. I felt the low hanging fruit.
This is the map I have. That's all I do. Little hand drawings, and I'm not
Oh, I
a
can't. see
computer
that.
savvy person or anything like that, and I don't make models. I don't even make videos. I come out hangouts, talk
Okay.
to people.
You name people that have graphics already
Sorry.
drawn up of what
Yes.
you apparently subscribe to.
Is that okay?
Can you screen share that, please? And let's talk about the Equinox on that model so we can have it available for visual display for all to see and follow and
Well, the
see
thing
why it
is,
doesn't
the
work
person
on
who
your
made the model, isn't here to tell them what they are representing in the model. And what I would do would be just secondhand information, and you would pick it
Right.
apart like you're picking it apart already.
Right.
Well,
because that's how you learn, right? Aren't you trying to
You guys-
figure out what's real and what's not?
Why
So
are you
if you
promoting
why
what
don't
you
you-
why
can't
don't
defend,
you-
Billy?
Wait
Why
a
are you
minute. Why
promoting
don't you
what you
put?
can't
Well, you-
defend?
Yeah, if you're
Wait
telling
a
me
minute.
that I should
You don't
look
even
into it,
understand the map and you're promoting
explain
it.
to me why I should look into it. Right?
I
Explain,
believe.
Give us
explain
more
to me
credit than
why.
that.
Wait a minute. I just
Make sure
got. I'll
people do it.
explain it to you in simple, basic layman terms. You believe
You
in.
don't even need to do that for me. So you could go as
Okay.
deep and as strong as you want.
Good. Then good. You believe
Hammer
in
it
your
home,
little.
baby.
Go full nuclear.
I'm trying not to, man. I'm not trying to.
That was
You
a joke
believe in it-
about how you say nuclear.
Nuclear.
Okay.
Huh.
Are you going to make fun of my speech too? All right. Whatever. I'm missing teeth. It's hard to talk with missing teeth. How do I know?
Don't
Hey?
hyper victimize yourself. Let's just talk about the model.
Okay. I'll try to be as
Hyper victimized.
You do better than Von.
I don't need to victimize myself. I'm getting enough of that already in
So
the
funny,
chat,
though.
not in the panel. Anyways, You believe in a three-dimensional universe. Even in your heliocentric model, three-dimensional. I do not.
That's what I see. That's what I see.
That's it. Okay,
go
that's
ahead.
the difference.
What's that got to do with the square map that we're going to analyze?
Research out the fourth dimensional theory. It's all.
What does the fourth dimension do to this map?
Some people say we're living in.
Show me how it works.
Bro,
show me how it works.
Some people say that time is the fourth dimension.
Bro.
Some people say that smell is the fourth dimension.
Wow. Okay. Well.
No, really, you're gonna have 4D TV coming up soon, right? Where you can like.
Why do I need
a
a
person
teach
fart
you?
and
When,
then
when I don't know something, you guys tell me to go look it up. Go look
Billy,
it up.
Billy, remember,
I'm not your school. Wait a minute. I'm not your school mom. I'm not here to teach you nothing. I'm stating what I've seen and researched.
Get him, Billy! Get him, Billy!
We're happy to teach you.
Yeehaw!
Why don't you?
Okay.
Come on,
Seriously,
no
though.
need,
Thought what?
no need.
We're just, you know.
What do you think?
Trying not to.
What
You've already called me every name in the book, and then I try to
Except for
tell
a
you
school
something.
mom.
Well, other people, reputable
Really?
people that can keep their composure, that have a
calls
way
himself
better
everything in the
reputation
book.
than myself, that have produced videos and that do a really good job explaining their point of view.
But we disagree.
And you
We've
want
seen the
me-
videos and they're not a good job. That's all I'm
Okay.
saying.
They did
know,
such
alright,
a good job that
that's all.
you don't understand it and you can't explain it to us.
I
Exactly.
did explain it. I believe in
No,
a
you did not.
looping square
Yeah.
Earth model. The sun sets during the equinoxes, 90 degrees. It rises in the east and sets in the west, 90 degrees.
Yeah, how's that
What
work?
more explanation do you want?
How's that work? How's
I
that work
believe
on
in
a
the
square,
southern
dude?
star rotation,
Billy,
in the
how
Cygnus
does that work?
Octavianus.
Can you
How
not
does that
visualize
work?
what you're
Now it works.
saying while you're saying
I
it?
believe that we live in a
Apparently he can't.
geocentric, heliocentric model where the stars, the wandering stars, are heliocentric around the sun
We heard what you
over
believe,
a
but you
geostationary
can't. You're not
Earth.
supporting it with
That has
anything.
nothing to do with
Observations do not
that.
I'm
support.
explaining
sunrise
it. You
and
wanted me to
sunset.
explain it to you.
You're
That's
repeating.
what I'm doing.
You're
Billy.
repeating
Wait
your
a
belief
minute.
over.
That's
Stop talking, Billy.
Wait a
It's my
minute.
It's
turn. You're
irrelevant.
repeating your belief
Okay.
over and over again, but you're not explaining it. And
I just got done explaining it. What do you
repeated
mean?
No, you didn't.
You're repeating your
No, you
belief.
didn't.
You do
Really?
not explain how it works, okay? Because observationally, nothing
I don't see
you
how.
said-
Wait a minute. I don't
Excuse me,
see how
Billy.
it works.
Billy, can I talk?
Correct.
No, you don't, because it doesn't work, obviously. Observations prove that it doesn't work, okay? Observations prove that
observations?
it doesn't have four.
Whose
Everyone on Earth,
observations are you
everyone who looks
referring to?
outside, you would have 4 different suns on a fucking model like that, wouldn't you?
Or
Not
more.
if they're projections.
Oh my god, dude. That's
Oh,
the
and
whole point.
The projections are in
Right, but
different
hold on.
locations
Hold
for
on, can I
each
explain
observer.
something? Hold on, Billy, do you see the inconsistency? If the sun were a projection, the stars wouldn't be. I mean, I guess, I don't know if you were going to say it's, because like, how could you have heliocentric stars if the sun is a projection?
Yeah, we have to get a more.
But like,
real-
but aside from that, like, remember
Talking
too,
about
Billy.
a serious person that has
Real
some
quick,
ideas about what's going on, understands the model they're trying to sell us instead of some ad hocery.
Well, hold on, and can I just
Wait
say
a
something real
minute.
quick? Hold on,
Whoa,
Billy,
whoa.
Billy,
Talk
one
about
second. Billy,
ad-hocery in the
can I
model you're trying to still represent when
Billy.
your model's being questioned by
Come
not
on, you
more
lost
than
all credibility
myself.
by now, dude. Just
Billy,
take a
It's
bow.
not being questioned by anybody with any sense about it.
Yeah, take a
You're
bow,
on
bro.
Nathan Oakley. You're on a
You're
panel.
fucking up the
Nathan,
flat earth
wait,
thing.
whoa,
The
whoa,
curve is the
whoa,
word.
whoa.
Giving flat earthers a bad name. They're probably like, dude, somebody shut Billy up, please. He's really
Wait a
fucking it
minute.
up
You're
for us.
on Nathan's program.
I swear, if I
Nathan-
was a flat earther right now, I'd be like begging you to stop.
Yeah,
Please stop.
you give Florp a bad name, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've heard better arguments. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying,
That's a
Well,
that's a
Billy-
song idea. That's
Hey,
a
real
song
quick,
idea. He said,
real quick. Hey
you give
guys,
Florp a bad
as me
name.
and Billy are the only flat earthers up here, let me just say, Billy, remember just the tenet of the idea that there's only real 2 discussions to this, which is one is that we're going to talk about heliocentrism. The other is that we're going to talk about the eccentric other possibilities. And the thing is that
They don't
just
want to
keep
talk
it.
about it, Isa.
Well, hold on. No, but
Isa, they don't.
Listen, Billy, it's about context.
I do.
It's not that they don't want to talk about it. It's that they want it to be formulated in a way that they can at least, that piques their curiosity. The point is that you're dealing with
No
people
problem.
who aren't very curious about things. And so
I
the
need to
thing
see
is-
the plausibility demonstrated.
No, we're not, right. And I
No,
agree.
Isa, I'm just not
I'm
bi-curious,
busting
so
your
calm
balls,
down.
asshole. all about the
Oh, wait a minute.
Relax.
Wait,
Relax.
No,
Hold
you're
on.
mad.
you're
Billy,
saying ISA gives Flat Earth a bad name?
Billy,
You're
Billy,
saying
Billy.
all these people I listed
No,
give
No,
Flat
no, no,
Earth-
no.
Whoa,
Isa
whoa,
and
whoa,
I
whoa,
call
whoa.
each other names on,
Yeah, we bust each other's
but
balls
it's
all
more
the
of
time.
an
It's all good.
enduring
Why don't
fashion,
Why
not like.
don't
Exactly.
you're giving everybody
Thank
Hold
you.
on,
Flat Earth?
that's not
And
bad.
I don't hate you, Billy. I'm not saying. Yeah, you don't get
Don't
it twisted, man.
misrepresent.
What do you
Nobody
mean
said
don't
get
ISA
it?
gives Slurp
I'm
a
just
bad
asking
name,
for
Billy.
a better argument to
Okay.
fight against. That's all. Like it's not
I
This
fair.
is just-
was saying Billy gives Slurp a bad name, and I told Isa that's a song idea. He could do that Bon Jovi style. You
Okay.
give
All
Slurp a
right.
bad name.
Wouldn't be the first time, man. So it's okay.
No, but no, Billy,
But
don't take
other
it to
than that,
heart.
Billy, I appreciate you, dude, because you got the balls to come out here and talk about what you think and stuff like that. And that's all appreciated, dude. You know,
All
I'm
right.
very
much like
frustrated
We-
because
listen,
I'm
we-
begging to
forget
see
what
what
we don't
it is
agree
you're
on.
saying you
All right.
believe.
I
would-
sorry,
Great.
Billy Curbs. Hold on. Forget what we don't agree on for a second, and let's focus on some of the things we do agree on for just a second. Like maybe the dangers of vaccines if you don't agree with that, or
No,
I agree with that.
Flat Earth.
GMOs.
I don't. No offense,
You
Grim.
guys-
I'm just saying,
believe in
just find some
chemtrails?
common ground for a minute, so
Tell
we
him,
don't end up
Nathan.
hitting
Yeah, you
each
got to
other.
recognize, like, yo, Grim is actually hardcore, man. Grim is
Yeah.
he's old school. Like, these guys, Billy, it's just a matter of it's like even myself. It's like you're entering into shop talk, and this is just shop talk. It's like we have people with we have some of the smartest people come out on this discussion, in my opinion. Curved Water and Grim are two of the smartest cats out here, really.
I know.
But you
They
know what I
got
mean? And
Ron.
also-
They got
so-
Tim, and they
but they
got
also
Jem.
come.
I never
Hold on.
claimed that
Right,
these
right, but
people
hold on,
never
hold on.
insult their
I'm
intelligence.
not talking about that. What I'm saying is that this is just the shop talk of how we, like us. I don't know. I liken myself to this crowd. I enjoy the company of these people. I like talking shit. We have fun. But the thing is also that when we do bring these ideas, it's like we also like the wall of criticism that's going to come is going to come anyway, man. And it's okay. And it's better it's coming from Grim and Curved because they're gentlemen and they will respect you when you bring your ideas. But the thing is, they're also going to point out the holes in it because, like I said, heliocentrism has so much explained, and that's where we need to just.
I would agree.
Yeah, that's all. So don't take it to the heart. Don't get so. Don't worry about
It's
it.
a very, it's a model that's standard for 500 years or whatever. It's since the
3,000
beginning, and
years.
whatever the history is. And I'm just saying, there's other people besides myself, which would be a truism statement. I could see if I was the only one that was trying to investigate a flat Earth model or a flat Earth reality, and you recall. But there's so when you're saying it's a massive psychosis that we're all under.
Well, no, but Billy, you're trying to identify yourself with what you're calling smarter people than yourself, and the point is that it doesn't fly in the debate. And the thing is that not
It's
that
an argument from credulity, basically.
Yeah. It's like
okay.
it's saying like it's like a baller coming and saying, well, fucking Neil Armstrong said he went to the moon, dude. So it's like it's
All right.
kind of like that. It's like
I
so
can
you have to
relate.
be able.
I'm not
to
a very good debater.
Hey, no.
I'm not very good at anything.
Well, the
I
point,
came
no,
on-
Billy.
You're
hold
probably
on,
a
hold
good
on.
friend.
Billy, the point is that look, you believe in the Creator. Right? You're a biblical man. So the thing is that you have to learn how to take the talents God has given you and fucking cultivate them. Part of them is you've entered into this conversation, so there's a reason for that. And the thing is that cultivate that. Become a good explainer. There's no excuses. Become a good explainer. Bring this map that you're talking about.
I will.
So that we can look at it. You know what I
I'm
mean?
not
And-
prepared today to do it,
Oh,
but I'll
good.
have to. I will.
We're gonna
We're
all
bring it
getting
in
there.
now. Are we looking at group hug here?
Well,
Bring
now
it
we
in. Bring it in.
Yeah, we
Yeah, let's bring it in.
Um,
Quick group hug.
I just wanted to come on and give Nathan some support and tell him what a great idea this is. And because if you go into other chats, and we've all been bounced from chats, even me. I mean, I
Probably
get
not
blocked.
more than me. I don't
Well, I'm
think
just
anybody's been
saying.
bounced more than I have.
Nobody's been bounced. We kept it respectable. We got a little swearing, even though the rules no swearing. We swore a little bit, all of us, which is okay. We try to keep it clean. We try to play by the rules. And I respect Nathan for doing this endeavor. So, and I wanted to Nathan will testify. Him and I have gone at it before ourselves and issues.
Well, put it
At
this
the end
way.
of the day, I can let bygones be bygones, and I'll support his effort in trying to run this debate channel. and I'll promote it in every way I can.
All right. Well,
And I go, if anybody
can we
on the
debate?
globe side or the flat earth side would like to know more on their positions, I would ask you to hit the like and subscribe to this channel and get updates. And according to Nathan, he's going to be running these things regularly. I think it's a great
And
idea.
everybody's channel on the panel too, by the way, because
Somebody let me know
And
when the
everybody's channel
commercials
on the
over,
panel.
so I know when to talk.
Perfect. Okay.
And people,
I'd like to talk
Absolutely.
about what we were talking about earlier with the azimuth to the sunrise and sunset at equinox, and you proposed a square map.
Right.
Now the globe is the perfect solution to this. Let me ask you this: do you understand how the globe explains that? You know, that observation at equinox. Do you get why the globe explains that?
It's in an elliptical. It's very hard for me to picture, but it's in an elliptical orbit, and during the equinox, it's towards the center of the ellipsis. I
No.
don't know how to explain that even. No.
All right.
well, if you
Well,
do,
but
then
this
you
is-
understand how it works and that how it couldn't work the other way. That's the point he's trying to make. So
Well,
Okay.
yeah.
it's
Hey,
tilted.
listen.
So when
like I
it comes
said,
back around to that point,
I
the
refer
tilt
to
is
you
lined
people.
directly. Right, excuse me. The
Yeah.
tilt is lined up directly, so you don't see that it doesn't hit the Earth at that tilt anymore. It's hitting the Earth directly due east. In that.
Yeah, the axis is not tilted
day.
towards nor away from the sun at that moment.
It's
It's not
aligned.
about where it is in the ellipse of the orbit or anything. It's about the tilt.
Okay.
Not being
All
towards
right.
or away from the sun.
Okay.
Basically, the
shadow
sunlight
hits- right.
sunlight is going to follow lines to longitude.
So straight up and down, north to south, you're going to see that's the daybreak line. Instead of crooked, you're coming across north to south, like, south first, like it normally would. You see it come directly parallel with the poles. Daylight is the same on one line of latitude. The morning starts for everybody on that line.
Longitude.
Latitude. Yeah, longitude. Did I say latitude? Vagitude.
I'm not sure. I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you.
As opposed to vagitude. Vagitude is totally different.
Vagitude is the other one.
Vagitude is a Dick Earth concept. You cannot
Yeah,
fucking.
I know.
Yeah. That's a whole nother model.
Is that really the Dick Earth concept? Or you just
No, I'm just busting balls.
Oh,
Vagitude.
okay. That's perfect. TM. You better TM that
All right.
shit. Put it on Dick Earth t-shirts.
So one thing that puzzles me is how many people reject the globe without even understanding it.
Yeah.
They don't know the
I think they
operation of it.
reject
They
on the
don't
premise
know.
because so many other lies do exist that this must be one too, right?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, I
that might be
guess.
the
Well, it is. It's
And that was not directed at any certain person, by the way. It's just the crowd as a whole doesn't seem to understand the globe very well. It really pisses me off when I hear them talking about how and that they understand the globe better than we do and all that kind of stuff. I see very few that actually do and get the globe.
Curve, you can admit though that like a flat earther who's at least a couple years in it is like, your average flat earther is more educated about it than your average ball earther. That's all. That's what I think most people mean when they say that. It's like the idea that it's like if I go to try to talk to someone on the side of, you know what I mean, like the guy at the store who believes he's spinning through space, like he doesn't know the globe Earth model more than, let's say, your average flat earther in a lot of ways. They might though. Who knows?
I can see that.
Just a
That's what
difficult,
I do.
Most people out
just
there
a
don't have a
difficult.
clue.
Sorry, it's just
Yeah.
a difficult theory to swallow.
By and large,
gotta
people
agree
are
with that.
stupid.
Difficult theory to swallow. A lot like Dick Earth.
Indeed.
Moving along like
And
that.
just as controversial too.
Well, I got a gay friend that would love this conversation.
Oh God. I like that.
It's another thing. If it's which is nice. That's why I like this in Denver. I mean, right now, what you have to admit within the flat Earth YouTube videos, there's nothing but personal attacks and drama, background investigations, government, CIA informants, Hillary,
All there will ever be.
witch hunts. I'm just saying, personal character assassinations.
Grimby, you
Instead
got
of
to be
having-
tired by now, dude.
Yeah, I am tired of it.
He hasn't
I mean,
stopped moving.
Oh
No,
yeah.
it's so I don't make fun of homosexuals. I don't make fun of transgender people. That's not on my radar. I could care less. I mean, I personally wouldn't make a lot of the decisions that they do, but they're entitled to the decisions that they make. And you know, I'm not going to down somebody because
Hey, real
of the
quick,
way they look.
real quick, I'm gonna just be a semantical dipshit. The idea is, remember, it's I couldn't care less.
Bro, you might be able to bust my arm in two.
Yeah, no. couldn't. Well, no,
Yes,
I hear a lot of people say that I could care less.
Nice.
It's like I couldn't care less is the proper term, just for the record. Forgive me.
Yay. Proper
Yeah.
as pizza.
It makes me
So-
just so you know. It's all right.
You could say,
That's why
let me
I'm
find out if
supporting
I
this
could care
endeavor.
less, or things like that. You could always be different.
There you go.
Funnier. That's it. I'm
But
taking a
like I
break.
said on last night's show, things got out of hand. False accusations were made, and I hope, you know, I typed in the comment that Nate was doing a good job of moderating. It's been a pretty good show compared to last night, in my opinion. There was a little bit of squabble back and forth, but nobody accused anybody of breaking the law or anything like that. And you know, that's what we have to try to avoid. I know everybody's passionate, and I'm a very emotional, passionate person. And a lot of times I don't think like we all do. We've all been programmed, if we all agreed upon that, to television programming, subliminal programming and everything, to to run off of our emotions or playing with our emotions. So they've made us emotional people instead of critical thinkers. Now we have to separate our emotions from our critical thought, and we're having a hard time with it. I know. A little bit of Italian, but I'm not Italian at all.
Just got to be a bit contrary to that. Sorry, Billy, to disagree with you, but
You're right. That's what I was saying. I guess Nathan muted me because I was choking my ass off.
sorry.
I didn't
Yeah, I
realize
just didn't want you to
I didn't-
talk
I
over
didn't
Billy.
know
Sorry.
how to-
But yeah, just to be contrarian, well, not just to be contrarian, but to be contrarian. What happened yesterday with Pillbox, I encouraged. As much as I was telling him that he didn't look good, he came off looking terrible, in fact, I still encourage him to do that. It was most definitely a Flat Earth related issue. All of this is Flat Earth related. You know, you can have certain guests that will try and loosely relate things like transgender issues to Flat Earth, and frankly, he didn't get away with it. He got a few minutes to ask his questions, but then other than that, the accusations, on the other hand, I'm more than happy for them to be aired here. You know, because it was directly related to a Flat Earth channel and an issue somebody had with a Flat Earther on a Flat Earth live stream. So as much as I didn't like the approach and I didn't think it was particularly successful or came across well by the person making the accusations, he's more than welcome to return and do it again and again if he wishes. You know, if he gets booted, he can come back on the next show and do it over and over again. If he chooses to do that, that's his bag. It's Flat Earth related, so I'm more than happy for, I will name him, for Pillbox to do that. So sorry to disagree with you, but you know, regardless of how it looked, the same goes for Tim Osman. He said somebody was accusing him of all and sundry in the chat, and why aren't I moderating it? Well, unfortunately, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's, you know, I'm not going to change just because somebody doesn't like some fake accusation that's being made. It's on the screen, you know, like a few people have said. You know, I think it was Lewis Hackett said, well, that's a scandalous, libelous actually in print, but a libelous accusation.
Well,
fine.
right.
Act on
Okay.
it.
I can respect that, Nathan. I just gave you my personal take on it, and I'm not the only one that felt that way. And I'm saying it is your show. You moderate it any way you want. I'm just bringing that. You ask how things were going. How am I doing? Some people typed that in. And some of the people, not everybody, even though it was Flat Earth related, found some of that offensive. That's all I'm saying. And you ask people not to swear, and they continually broke the rules. And people were commenting in the chat when it was going, hey, there's no swearing, let's keep it in stuff. So like I said, and you're working out the bugs, and you're doing a great job. I just brought that up not to be argumentative, but just a slight criticism on my part. And now that you've responded, I understand you totally.
But
And there's no
again, with
problem.
you, the same applies. I encourage you to say, I hate this about the show. and I'll sit back and let you air that view. You're welcome to. In other words, it's the same applies. So thank you for your opinion.
No problem, bro. Okay. No problem.
Right, I'll leave you guys to it and shut up now.
Anyways, I'm gonna have to take off, guys. It's been great. I'm glad I was given the opportunity. I love all you people. Curved, bro. I love you. I know I make you unhappy. I'm sort of looking into a stance. I get on there. I view my opinions. A lot of it's not received well. I apologize. I love Isa. I love Lewis, who was on. The Grim, the Knock, and whoever's muted there with the Desert Sky and Nathan, everybody in the community. And I think that we need to love one another, whether you're a religious person or not. If I had any of you, if you were broken down out in front of my house and needed 5 gallons of gas, I'd give it to you. That's the kind of guy I am. Even if you came up and you were a glober and you had the globe painted all over your car, I would help you out. That's the way I am.
If you had the globe. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm just telling you, I would, bro. But anyways, it's been a terrific show today, and I hope Nathan keeps this up. It gives people an opportunity to see what's going on. We did talk about a lot of issues. We talked about a lot of science, and we covered a lot of topics. And we're ironing things out back and forth in a civil matter. I was in a chat last night with Ron Burgundy. I'm studying that atomic clock, and it's a fascinating read in 1971. There's a lot of stuff I don't know, and I'll be the first to admit it. But if we can talk and share things back and forth and want to learn, we all would agree there's something up and that we've been programmed and there's been knowledge hidden. So if we can do that, then that's all we're asking. Give us a fair shot too. Nathan's giving people who believe in the globe a fair shot and a free voice. You can't ask it anymore, and nobody's getting bounced out of the chat, or unless they're, but nobody's getting wrenched out of here. So that's a good thing. And we need more of this kind of interaction amongst ourselves. And I applaud Nathan for doing it. I honestly, truly do. And not to kiss his ass. I'm just telling him straight up. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, people.
All right, Billy. Peace,
okay,
brother.
take it easy.
Yeah, man.
Just kidding.
Yep.
Nice meeting you, Billy.
Word. So what's up? So who's going to Mount Meru with me?
I'm already there.
No doubt, my brother. That's what's up. That's exactly how I look at that shit too.
Yeah, I got my fucking. Which board do I need? A long board or my short board?
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, it's like that's the coolest thing it's like I was talking with a friend of mine just on this flat earth and it's like everyone like that I've you introduce it and everyone's like, let's go and dip return, we're gonna go over here and we're gonna go to the Antarctic and we're gonna go to Mount Meru and it's like, yo man, like why not just recognize really you're like you just said, bro, I'm at Mount Meru. You're already like, you can't fucking go there physically almost. Or something like,
all kinds of other reasons. For all we know, Isa, there's a serious electrical flow going on where they tell us it's going on at the poles, which gives us our magnetic fields in the first place, right? So there could be electrical reasons why they don't fly over those highly magnetic areas,
But what's it? Can you give me another example other than Earth of the magnetic, some kind of magnetic device?
Oh yeah, Z-pinch. Yeah, every AC current in existence. Every
doesn't that
DC
operate
current,
much like go check it though? Doesn't it operate much like a speaker, right? Like a speaker.
Well, yeah,
has
exactly.
this, so that would be like a flat Earth would be the speaker.
No.
You know what I mean? So because that's something that is replicated. Like not many devices.
We made the speaker. We made the speaker flat on purpose to give us vibrations.
Because it works better. Because it works better.
Vibrations. It's not really flat either. It's coned. For the most part. And there's all different kinds of shapes now we've got in our cars and shit.
Right.
But that's a different. That's conflating two different things. That's like saying this sound thing that we made is what the natural shape of the Earth is.
Well, that's what gets people talking about solar. What is it? Solar luminescence.
No, it's just you're saying that the Earth has electrical properties isn't like saying it's actually an RC remote control car. You know what I mean? And naming a specific electrical toy that we made. You know what I mean? Like a speaker or something. You know what I mean? That we made specifically for other reasons. But it's even more complex than a speaker. And even in the laboratory, we can show the plasmoids and how it has the same sort of electromagnetic properties and, you know, all the stuff that gets left out of the gravitational models. But
what was the example you were given of a magnet that works like Earth? That you're proposing, the heliocentric Earth. Like what's a magnet?
I said any electrical current. Any electrical current. It's called the Lorentz force law. That's where the magnetic field will run perpendicular to the charge.
Isn't the Lorentz law, like, wouldn't that explain why speakers are shaped the way they are?
No, speakers are shaped the way they are because of the Lorentz law.
Right, because the optimal, right, and that's what I'm trying to say is that they have to.
Lorentz law wasn't.
Right,
Yeah.
if we're dealing with electromagnetism, it would have to be that kind of a flat cup kind of a thing, right?
No, not at all.
What I'm trying to say is
the reason it's designed that way in the speaker is so that it can raise and lift and vibrate the actual flat cone
and that
to disturb the air. Right.
Can that explain the tides, let's say? But like for 1 second, it's like this, is that if, let's say, what's another, like I can say like, okay, on my flat earth model, I look at it like, let's say a speaker. So you on a ball earth, what's your example of like, here's an everyday thing that we use that uses this simple property of magnetism, just like a ball on a ball.
It's not working that way though, magnetism, because it's not an extra Gauss force.
So
we're not getting a magnetic force.
It doesn't work that way? It doesn't work that way?
No, we're not getting a Gauss reading. It's on the subatomic particles in the electric universe model that's why it's such a weaker force. If it was on the actual, what they're calling particles, I don't even believe in particles, but that's still a whole nother conversation. But gravity, right, is a weaker force is because it's the EM on the dipole of a subatomic particle. A dipole meaning it would have the two poles, but one in the center of the other surrounding, like a inverse, you know.
So what's an example? I'm just trying to think of like because I mean, if let's say like the magnetism principles and the laws dictate that speakers are kind of flat and cup shaped, what's the other practical, like, you know, what would be the example of the ball? Like, I mean, because you'd think if that was the simple way that it worked, you're just saying that happens on a subatomic level.
Let me show you an example of a ball and an electric current and what happens to the ball in that electric field. It spins. That's a pretty clear example. It'll kind of help you understand and the magnetic coil that's around the ball is horizontally, right? But the ball will spin vertically like this, perpendicular to the
my screen. Hey, I gotta go, man. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for having me on, Nathan.
Peace to knock.
Take care.
Pleasure to meet you. Good to see you. Thanks for joining.
So I'm just wondering, maybe even just show us a video of how that works. If like, you know, but something real world, like something how that happens in the real world. Like, you know, like let's say like what's like a device that's used that operates off of the principle that you're showing.
See one of my videos here.
Like not like a cartoon though, like something practical. Like I want to see like real world, because I can show you a speaker. We all have speakers, I mean, right? So like, you know, I just want to see like a real world.
Yeah, I'm talking about
example.
The steel ball and the magnetic, electromagnetic field.
Yeah.
Just give me a second because I got a lot of stuff open here.
Is there a natural break? Wicked. I'll do a little
you
plug.
guys can keep on, chatting or whatever for.
Yeah, go on. What's up, Nathan? How you doing, brother?
Cool, man. I'm just going to tell people because this isn't my main channel, so I'll do my little spiel that I've got. So if you're new to this channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you're new to Nathan Oakley in general, be sure to hit the link in the info box and subscribe to my main channel, which is not this one, Nathan Oakley 1980. And also, if you want to join the show, be sure to hit the link in the info box and you can actually join the debate live.
This is awesome, Nathan. What a good, I like your, I like the decorum and all of it, you know what I mean? Shout out to every, like I was doing this when I started up, just having everyone here. And it's funny because you wind up with the same cast of characters, and I love them all. And that's what shows you they're the most interested in the subject. And all flat earthers really should become acquainted with Kurt, Water, and Grimm and know what their arguments are. Because, I think we one of the biggest critiques of flat earthers is that we don't understand heliocentrism well enough to be able to be respected in our flat earth, beliefs. And so when we do understand the heliocentric, like I always try to offer some like the respect to the heliocentrics because it's a damn fine model. The thing is, it's a model. So respect.
Yeah, well, we're pretty deep into this now, and a lot of flat earthers, because of the circle jerk of a lot of these shows, have ended up not realising that most, if not all, flat earth arguments have a heliocentric debunking that goes along with it. Now, that's not to say that there's not a debunking for that debunking, and so on and so forth, but that's where the debate comes in. You have to air those points. But if you don't know them, and you don't know for a start that there's a debunking, or you don't understand how the model works, as you've just pointed out, then you're going to be a pretty poor advocate for your model if you're punting one or whatever. You're going to be a poor advocate for that if you don't know the counter arguments really, really well. And it's fair enough in the initial stages when you're finding out and you're just watching Flat Earth Clues, because then it's really romantic. It's really exciting. Yeah, well, this bit isn't. This is the down and dirty when someone actually knows their stuff and presents a counter argument. Billy's just found it out. He's had a baptism of fire, and respect to him. He's aired his views. He's put his points forward. He's remained relatively calm, and he's a couple of hours of him putting out his views and having the counter arguments put back to him. And he's got a lot to think about now. Good. That's the whole purpose. So I hope Billy goes away feeling energised and positive about the experience and not, berated and belittled. I don't think so. I don't think he'll go away despondent. I think it was a good experience for him. I hope so. And I hope other people will have exactly that experience. When I've had it, it's been significantly worse from memory. I've been dropped into various different chats with people who are far more intelligent than I am. And I've got no shame in admitting that. And that's how you get to become more clued up about your own subjects. And it's as simple as that. If anybody's watching, I'll give this as my last disclaimer. I will interject occasionally with my opinion if the conversation seems to need it, or indeed more likely that there's people just getting triggered or talking over each other. So as much as I know Grim V's like, oh, you've got to shut up. It's like, I've got to do that. That's my only purpose in being here. If you do want to see me debating people, then fine, go to the Nathan Oakley channel. There's loads. There's like 700 odd videos with my opinions and my views in abundance, so you can go there and check those out. But that isn't really my purpose in being here. So I'm not here to back up Billy in any of his arguments or the contrary with anybody else. If Negator X was here, I wouldn't be backing up his arguments. Not that I'd need to. But there we go. So that's my little spiel over. I'm just hoping more people will join. And it's not always sort of 5 against 1 as it was the case with Billy. So there we go. I don't know if somebody's got something up that they want me to present, but I'll stick it up anyway. Is that you, Grim? There we go.
Yeah.
Yes, Nathan.
What is this? I was going to ask. What's the?
It's an electric field.
Okay, no. Hold on, real quick. The question is, what's its practical purpose?
It's to demonstrate the mechanism for the rotation of the sphere.
All right, but but it doesn't. Does it do anything?
Yeah, the ball spins in this electric field.
Does it create no? But I mean, what's the practical use of this?
Every motor, the electric motor in existence.
They have a ball like this that they put in it.
Well, no, but they use bearings. He's demonstrating it with a ball so that you can. It's not very economically viable to use a ball like that. I mean, it wouldn't be
efficient. Right. It's not, and nature's pretty efficient,
they make
right?
Bearings.
Is nature not efficient?
They make more windings for more high-powered rotations for motors.
Right, but wouldn't it be like
drills? And,
right. And that's what I'm saying is that and aren't those my thing is that So there's no practical application for this ball in the thing here. Like, so I was at, like, you know, say, like, what's the practical, like, we, like,
To
again,
demonstrate the idea that electric fields in space can make things rotate and spin. It's the driving force of, you know,
I knew it.
matter out there.
right, but
is
what's
what
the
it is.
practical, like, do you see, but what I'm trying to say is that, are you sure that nature would use something
I don't know if
so
you understand what you're
ineffective?
asking.
Well, no, what I'm
Why
saying
would
is that,
it
like,
be
well, check it out.
ineffective?
In
The
electromagnetism,
model is
right,
to
check it.
demonstrate a
Listen,
simplicity.
man.
It
Listen,
isn't to
man.
be.
Right, I
It's
understand.
to be.
Is there a practical purpose for
it's-
any of that?
It's a self-made model. Yes, it's to demonstrate the actual physics at play when we're talking about field dynamics and the movement of matter in electric fields. So it's actually
Graham?
very practical. Yeah.
What's the source of, are you trying to suggest that this is the cause of the rotation of the Earth?
Well, yeah, I'm saying that's
Okay.
yeah
And
one of the reasons for the movements of the Earth.
The source of this magnetic field rotating the Earth would be
It's the
from what
electric
direction?
the electric current that we measure
From
the sun. We measure the electric current going through the poles of the planet.
I just want to ask you a real practical question.
Yeah.
Why do you suppose the Earth rotates 23.4 whatever degrees from the vertical with this proposed, you know, electrically caused rotation? Why is the Earth not rotating in line, so to speak, with that line from the sun of this magnetic field? Why do you think the Earth is tilted like it is?
Well, I couldn't really, you know, I couldn't really speak on that as much as I'd like to, you know, without looking into it a little bit more. But I would suggest that it's basically has something to do with the EM fields, the actual twist of the EM fields itself, you know, that from other alignments, like the actual galactic alignment instead of just the solar alignment. So there's that playing on the actual solar alignment as well on the planet, you know.
And then I'll ask, why do you think the sun electrically spins the Earth,
It would be
but yet the
potentially,
moon
and
basically
also because the Earth
rotates in
moves
tidally
through the
locked
plasma.
fashion?
Let me finish the first question. Also because the Earth moves through the plasma, which is conducting electricity just by moving through the plasma that exists. You know, that's also another reason for the actual, you know, extra magnetic alignment, because that's a secondary charge applied to the first circuitry of the sun. Then it's the movement of the Earth moving, its magnetic field, right, generated by its circuitry to the sun moving through the plasma, inducts again, conducting more electricity. So,
really?
That's in the electric model. So it would follow that it would be off axis a little bit, you know, being that all those different magnetic fields are, you know, kind of twisting on each other.
Yeah, I'm not seeing why. And actually, I just wanted to see if that's what you were getting at. And I've already gone beyond what I even care about with this, so I'm not even going to argue it or anything. It doesn't matter to me.
Can you play a few seconds of the video, please, Mr. Grimm?
He says the sphere is now spinning, so he puts the marker on it. Sorry, it's excuse me. (13 hertz), 17 hertz. And then in his model here, I'm just using these copper wires as the actual field generated by the electric, you know, ions, electromagnetic field pushing the ions That's the only thing that could be pushing ions away and making them accelerate as they speed up away from the sun. And so that plasma there, which they found to actually have the kinetic Alfvén wave in it, meaning that the wave actually has capacitance and can hold its own potential as well. Anyway, so I'm using the copper wire as analogous, to the plasma that surrounds the planet. So the connection, the circuitry would be different because it would be like a fluid circuitry here, which would be creating a hyperboloid, right? And then you would see, if you know what that shape is, right? Electromagnetically, the charge would actually find a direct flow in one direction, and then the spin would be leveled out due to the dielectric plane of the solar magnetic dielectric plane. You know what I mean? Where the sun, that's why we're in this access to the sun, and we're not following way behind the sun or going, we don't get all different kind of areas of the sun. We don't just spin around it all willy-nilly. We go around it at a particular rate to its north pole, relationship to its north and south, right? So that's what's interesting about also approving the spherical model. we can measure the electromagnetism from.
All right, hold on one second. What do you think about this idea, though? And I guess where I saw Nathan asking where was I going with this. My point is that, this is all fine and dandy, showing the machinations of a portion of how electromagnetism might affect a ball. But the point is that what's its practical use? And if there is no practical use, it seems to me that the shape of, because you said as the laws of magnetism have to make the shapes of the speaker, let's say, works really well, which is relatively flat and kind of bowl shaped. And so, my point is that that's a practical thing we use
every day. It's actually a cylinder, and copper wires wrapped around the cylinder.
And that's why, and that would be your Mount Maverick. And that would be your
Mount Maverick. Is due to the cone. So
okay, let me speak. Dude, you just had 10 minutes in a video. Dude, you just had 10 minutes in a video. Hold on one second. No. What I'm trying to say is that I asked for you to show me something that's practical, that's used every day with this science. Where is it? Show me the practical nature of this. Not a theoretical example for schools.
Every single drill ever used in the entire world that isn't hooked up to an air nozzle
and doesn't use a ball
is electric, unless it's a big drill that's gas powered.
Right. It doesn't.
Yes, use they do. They use balls. Yes, and part of their bearings, and they also use brushless, bearingless ones. We're using a ball to show how the effects on a sphere operate. But in the drills, they use brushless or brushes that barely touch the edges, so they don't, whatever.
Right.
And they use the magnetic fields themselves to push the actual propeller or the
much like a speaker. Hold on, much like a speaker.
So it's magnets and copper wire to show you that.
It's doing a function. Look, okay, like a drill is still using a drill is still using maybe the same principles of what, and I don't know.
Right here, the Lorentz force law.
Right, and it could be a flat plane. Actually, they probably use something flat. In
Maxwell
the
field equations. No, they're using Maxwell's field equations.
They're not using gears. They're
not a flat plane.
Gears. They're not using gears to move the pieces. The gears are flat and they have teeth.
They're not using gears. No.
They're not using gears.
No, they're using magnets and electricity. That's the driver.
Okay, so the law and the law is dictating. Hold on, listen, man. And the law is dictating that it emanates in a dielectric plane.
It's called the Lorentz force law. Yeah, it's
a dielectric plane,
the matter
which would
in
make
one direction.
That's why speakers are am I wrong there?
Well, tell me, in layman's terms, I hate what I just said, but it's layman's terms, dude. That's what drives the force for him.
And the gears are after the motor, though.
Yeah, that's after the motor. Dude.
Right, but that's the job. That's the practical use of it.
You're talking about now. It's
the gear. Hold on, wait, Grim. You're saying
they're breakable because they're made in Pakistan, right?
You're saying
you're really going off. Really,
you're saying that the gear. You're saying that the gear doesn't matter.
It's Pakistani steel, huh?
It matters to the torque output.
Right. It matters to the output and the effect of what you're dealing with. My point is that it's a flat plane.
No,
there's a dielectric.
matter to the output.
Due to the laws
Okay.
of the magnetism, this is why we have speakers.
We're not talking about torque.
Show me. Okay, so break down how. Show me where the ball
Alone.
is used in a drill. Dude, show me how the.
I'm
Hold on,
showing
no.
you.
I want. Okay, what I'm saying
See
is
what
show
you're doing
me
right now?
something
I said
practical.
you're being foolish. Stop it, dude.
Bro, I want something practical. This
Stop,
isn't practical
man.
and not something for colleges. Show me a practical application of having a
You're being
sphere.
silly. The reason
spinning
it's
through the-
practical is because it demonstrates the natural movement of a sphere and an electric
Okay,
field.
not a school. No, not something
This
for
is an
school.
experiment
Something.
to do that. What are you
Something.
doing?
Okay, so show it to me. Break it down for me. How they need a sphere, like how that is effective. You just yourself said that this is impractical and it's ineffective. My point is that
It's
why are you saying that?
practical
And are
as
you
an
saying that you're
experiment
in a way you're saying nature
to
is ineffective
demonstrate
and
the
exhausting?
motions of a sphere in a magnetic
Right, and
field.
what's-
I think I've said
okay.
it too many times for it to be
All right, and my
complicated.
point is that
anymore.
that doesn't prove that the Earth is a sphere. My point.
No, it never said it did, but I was talking about something that maybe somebody would think was important because it proves that there's a definite other explanation for the drive of the spin.
I asked
rotation
for a practical.
of the
Do you
planet
not understand the question? I
and
asked
other
for
planets.
a practical example of how something
that's
other
that's
like that would use a
subjective.
ball.
Right.
Well,
I mean,
okay. Outside of an
practical to one guy
educational,
might not be to another,
outside of an educational
Right? A
purpose,
scientific model
Show
and
me something
experiment is
practical.
not a practical way to explain
dude.
the natural
Okay, fine.
physics
No,
and
hold on. No,
observations
you answered the question. So this is a new
to some
question.
people.
So now
But to some
provide us
people,
something.
it is.
Yo, dude, now
I
provide us
don't
something
even know
that
if
is
you
flat,
understand
is
your
practical.
question.
No, I understand my question. It's the point is that you're not. I don't know what it is, bro. Maybe I'm miscommunicating it. The thing is that my thing is that like I was asking for a practical thing. Like I can show a speaker which uses a flat plane and the dielectric and and
it
follows
doesn't.
the. No.
No, it uses concentric cylinders. Again,
Okay,
you're
but
misrepresenting
concentric
exactly everything we talk
cylinders,
about.
Which
Yeah.
okay, concentric cylinders in the
They're
foundation
not flat planes.
of a flat or a cup. rather.
Nope.
No.
This is the Gauss field on that.
The
It
rings,
is
the ring. Hold on. The magnetism doesn't affect
Hyperboloid.
the magnetism.
Hyperboloid.
Listen, bro. The magnetism doesn't best get used in the flat cup,
Yeah, bro.
right? Isn't
No.
it best used in
I don't know if you
that
can-
scenario?
Everything you think is right is actually wrong so far. Go ahead. What's the next thing?
I was asking you for a practical use of a ball spinning on the magnetism, like you were showing.
A vibrator. Yep, you can stick an anal plug right in your butt and turn it on, and it vibrates back and forth because of a ball inside of a magnetic ball, electromagnetic ball. Practical.
You look-
as fuck.
You look like a fool.
Right.
Not practical.
No, I'm just saying it's all kinds of different mechanisms have that. He's being silly, like because he doesn't know of any mechanisms with a steel ball and electricity. And nobody even said that was what we were doing anyway. He just kind of like
I asked for a practical
decided
example.
to make this new goalpost over
I
here.
was
and talk
asking
about
for a practical.
very practical. Yeah, like that matters.
Hello, Alex.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. Can you mute your YouTube side, please?
Oh, sure.
It's coming through. And also, Alex, just to let you know, your camera is on. Whether you're aware of that, I think this might be your first time in a Hangout, so
Yeah.
it's up to you if you want to turn that off or not, or just keep showing your ceiling. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, but there's controls at the top of the Hangout screen if you want to mute your microphone or turn off your camera, adjust your bandwidth, and all that kind of good stuff.
Okay.
Word, how you doing, brother? Was there anything you wanted to bring up, Alex, or?
Yeah, just had a few questions. One being, why is the moon sometimes lit from underneath if the Earth is flat and the sun remains above it?
Is that for who's that directed at?
That's just for anyone who's happy to entertain it.
And what's the question again? Forgive me, brother. I was zoning out over here.
If the Earth is flat, then why is the moon lit from underneath if the sun is always above the Earth?
Well, some people propose that there's maybe the moon is casting its own light. It's like, the idea that, there are these certain phases of the moon that are so consistent that people have offered up the idea that it offers its own light. The idea that it's reflecting the light of the sun, it does look that way. The observations are there that it's doing that. But if it's reflected from that, I would imagine if the sun were maybe casting, let's say some people talk about the earth shine actually causing the moonlight.
Earthshine is visibly ridiculously weaker than the illumination of the moon.
Right.
You can clearly tell the difference between Earthshine and the moon's light, reflected or self-generated.
Another point to that is, with the phase of the moon moving, if the moon itself was its own light source, why would the phase move across the surface of the moon?
Why would the phases move across the surface?
If the moon itself was the source of light, why would the phase move across the moon?
Well,
Can I add to that?
Could be time. Yeah, go on. What do you call it? I guess Curve's got a fire over there. I would say, or forgive me, it's that some people have just even said it's as simple as it's the idea of a clock. Essentially you can tell what week it is in the months, using the where the moon is at in its stage. So it's really almost like it's a beautiful clock to some people, It's like, this is maybe like, and this is where, like I said, there's two discussions here. One is looking at heliocentrism and saying, okay, well, this doesn't sound right. The other conversation is the idea of me providing some eccentric theory to answer this kind of a question as regards to a model, because, really I'm of the opinion, if you will, I'll go there with you. It's like in a biblical sense, it says man has dominion over the earth. I don't know necessarily whether we will ever understand the sun, the moon, and the stars as correctly. You know what I mean? But heliocentrism says one thing, and my only issue is with the shape of the earth to a certain extent, because I don't see the curvature. That's it.
To me, it's quite obvious, and I can observe it for myself, that the moon is illuminated from the sun.
Now, is that right? Okay, go on.
Because of it's quite easy to see that the shape of the shadow indicates where the sun is in relation to the moon. But for a flat Earth theory, I haven't yet heard, for something that I consider quite a simple question, I haven't heard a persuasive argument to explain how the phase moves across the moon.
Right. Yeah,
With such regularity as well. Like a clock, like you say, that explains it very easily and very well for a globe Earth conclusion, but not for a flat. It has no answer that I've come across.
Yeah, that's to say then, my issue is the notion of, so do you accept that the Earth is spinning around the sun and that the sun is, spinning around the, there's like what do they call it? The great attractor. So like, do you accept that also?
Well, that theory is supported by the shadow cast from the moon on itself for the side that's not illuminated, the other side to the sun. So that does get backed up from that. But if there was an alternative theory of how that moon was illuminated in such a way, then that would explain a flat Earth. But it doesn't appear to be anything that is sort of bolstering that point of view. Just that very simple question I asked seems to stump a lot of people. They wanted to say, oh, that's why, it's because of A or it's because of B. There is no answer. It tends to be the question I ask is turned around and is then asked a different question back at me.
Well, let's say look at the let's say if the sun were, I just look at it like that's to say that the light source, all the light source is emanating from the sun. And I personally, the way that I view the sun is almost as a projection for my own way the way that I look at it, I really, I'm going to click it on my computer, but if you look up, there's a great image of it's the full magnetic spectrum. And the way I look at it is that you have like this central core point. And that, I'm just going to provide with you my eccentric answer. So don't take it as like, this is a possibility for me. Is this notion that we have a source at this center point that is potentially illuminating what appears to be the light on the moon and what is the sun. And now granted, if the sun is illuminating the moon, it does feel intuitively correct. You know what I mean, brother? That's like, but also I question whether or not it's intuitive because it's what I've been taught for so long. And so questioning of these events. That's all.
It's an experiment you can quite easily replicate just by having a ball and a source of light and a dark room. I mean, it's very easy to replicate, and
well, then how about this? How come
the shadow on the moon from a
how come there's no hot spot on the moon?
What do you mean? I'm asking about the way the moon is.
Right. What I'm talking about is that the way that the sun hits the moon. Why is there? If you're going to replicate that study, like you just said, why is there?
If you do it in your bedroom, it's very easy to replicate.
No, let me explain real quick. Is that isn't there like usually some kind of a
water to reflect
a focal point for the light? You know what I mean? Isn't there usually like a focal point? You're just saying that gets diffused.
It reflects off of water, yeah, like mirroring off of water. Maybe you're looking for it. There's none of that on the moon. There's no atmospheric water. There's no water. I mean, there might be a tiny bit of water, but I mean, there's not the kind of water that you're going to need to have those type of visualizations, man. What you think is a hot spot from that one video of that person? That's a lake.
That's my
own. That's a lake. The sun is reflecting off of a lake on the surface of the planet that's under some clouds, and it looks like a hot spot. And flat earthers went crazy over that video. I thought.
No, I'm talking about a hot spot on the moon. I'm talking about a hot spot on the moon. Like,
I've got one other question.
You won't see that.
Why would there be one?
There's none of that.
I've got one other question that I've struggled to have an answer for, and that is, why does the sun move? If it's a flat
around the galaxy, it's part of a bigger electric circuitry.
Yeah,
that's why it's done, because it is a Z-pinch in an electric circuit. You can see the magnetic connections to the galaxies, even to each other. They're on filaments.
Well, do you remember, Grimm is arguing from a point of his own theories. Let's just all remind ourselves of that.
Well, no, I'm not from actual data and observations taken
from...
But
it's not an A, or like right now you're kind of dealing with an A, ball Earth, B, flat Earth conversation. It's like you're over there.
We're talking about...
You're over there.
Okay, so a flat earther can come in and say, oh, it's square, or anything he wants, and ad hocery all day long. But I can't even talk about actual data and observations that we have proof of without being compared to him.
We were talking about flat Earth, is the thing.
Or you didn't even mention him, Jim.
I'm just trying to like bring up why I didn't get a chance. I was going to say electromagnetivity would be how the sun would be. Is offered as a proposal as to why the sun would be moving. Is because of the magnetism. That would be propelling it. That's why you have the toroidal. The toroidal field, just like
earthers hijacking stuff that I know about.
Okay, hold on, bro. God damn it, man. Hold on. It's like it would be the idea for the gentleman that asked the question. For the gentleman that asked the question, it would be due to what's called, I think it's called the right-hand rule, of where this would be what would be propelling these objects if that's the case.
Which I just described as the Lorentz force law.
Now, Graham, if you'd like to carry on, I mean, and offer your theory. Carry on, but the question was directed as a flat Earth, because the gentleman is asking, and all I'm saying is that there are these alternative, like that's why I looked at almost like I believe in some semblance of that sound has more to do with things than we're aware of. I think we only perceive certain levels of sound, and I think of the Earth much like a speaker, And I think that that Earth is very efficient with its powers. You know, it's like it doesn't waste its energy. And one of the best ways to do that, I think, or an example of that, is a speaker. How the Earth, like a speaker, is moving to the resonances, and maybe it's too fast for us to perceive. Maybe that's where your quantum, ideas can come in, or the rest of it. But this idea of, that I think of it as though a speaker. We're on a speaker, and there's a certain set of electromagnetic fields that operate and move the sun, the moon, the stars. This is what I think Billy Sunday was trying to get into with the idea of the Eric Dollard talking about this, electromagnetism.
Eric Dollard, though.
Well, I'm just saying
Hardcore.
that's what he was saying. It's just the idea that you have this. We don't know the explanation of these things. Like you and I, Grim, see the full magnetic spectrum differently. You see the whole magnetic spectrum as being what makes up the Earth, and I see it with the dielectric.
Each other, right? That's clear. Yeah.
Right. And I see the dielectric plane in the middle, and I think to myself, wow, maybe we're on this dielectric plane, because that's just how I envision it. You see it differently, c'est la vie. And really, it's almost like I've heard it likened to almost playing a video game online. It's like wherever you are, is you're going to have your own. I don't like looking at it that way, but it's like that's just it's an alternative example, and we can't.
Well, the dielectric plane is only a part of the entire spheroid in the first place.
And the spheroid for me would make up where the sun. This is your celestial sphere.
That's where all the matter is made up, is in the spheroid, and you were talking about at the center of a sphere of condensed matter that creates this spheroid and these magnetic fields that you're talking about in the first place. And you're already a condensed sphere of matter to create these.
Did you call it a check it out. Did you call it a theoroid? That's awesome. A theoroid.
A spheroid.
No, but a theoroid, like theory. I just thought we were taking a dig. It's funny.
Yeah.
Forgive me. But yeah, I look at it like just this notion that, and this is really what's so fascinating about this conversation, is that you can look at these facts, because they are, we all have our own facts. That's why I call my show Flat Earth Court, because it's like, we all have to bring our own understanding to it. It's like, a lot of people don't know whether I'm a flat earther or a ball earther or this, that, the other thing, but I think I've made my case for being a flat earther in this long ago. But I also know that heliocentrism is a doozy if you're a flat earther. You can't just throw it to the wayside. And especially as I've seen some people do. And that's what I think gentlemen like Curved and actually, and Grim, it's like bringing the highlight of the conversation. It doesn't make me not a flat earther, but I enjoy the conversation because I still need to question myself. I still need to be like, and if we're not doing that every day, then what good is flat earth doing for you? Everyone on this panel is a flat earther. What's up?
Before we get too far away from it, can I ask you a real quick question, Asa?
Yeah, man.
On the subject of the moon being self-illuminated, how would you respond to the question of, if you take a good close look at it and say, look at the Terminator, why does the Terminator skirt the craters as if it's shadows in the crater from?
Great fucking point. No, and dude, you're right. You're right. I see. That's and that my answer to that would have been, like I've said before, with this notion of the projection, is in some ways that that would be the only other answer. I mean, but it makes the most sense, obviously, and due to the observations, that it would be the sun. It appears that way. It also could be the sun being able to, let's say if they're in that celestial sphere of the electromagnetic sphere, then it would be, to me, totally possible that would be sunlight. You know what I mean? Like that makes it does, like I said earlier, it intuitively feels like it's sunlight, brother.
In which case,
it's like,
if it is the sun that's illuminating the moon, when it's illuminated from the bottom, does that indicate that the moon is above the sun, or does that indicate that the sun is beneath the earth?
Forgive me, say that again, because you're talking about the
moon again.
Right. Well, no, because you got to remember
the illumination of the moon being lit underneath. To you, does that indicate that the moon is above the sun in the sky, or that the sun is beneath the earth?
Well, that would change due to the ecliptic and the relationship of the moon and the sun on the ecliptic, right? You know what I mean?
At the point of when it's illuminated
or versus. Right, I could see what you're saying. Yeah, because you're saying that it would seem as though it's being illuminated from the bottom because it's higher than the, you know. Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying.
So, do you think the moon is higher than the sun?
Well, that would be that's like spatial. I mean, I don't know. In the flat Earth, like in a flat Earth model, I guess it would, it would indicate that that there is a positional difference if the sun is illuminating the moon.
Well, just using a little simple calculus, you can actually figure that the sun would be way off of your map if you were even going at the by just taking the hypotenuse of the triangle and finding the ratio to your distance object x, whatever object it is, from the point of from two different observers being able to triangulate to that point. So basically what I'm saying is there's an actual factual way to find the location of the sun, its distance. But if you factor in your 3,000 mile height, then your map would indicate that your sun wouldn't even ever be on the map. Like it would be literally like not even on. The map isn't big enough.
Right. It would be outside.
The angles are wrong. It has to be further away for those angles to, or for.
There's two ways to measure. You're saying that even at the 3,200 mark or whatever, because there's allegedly two trigonometry. It's either 93 million or 3,200 miles up. But it's like, but I mean, and if it was 3,200 miles up, it's like, I don't know. My thing is that, like I've said before many times, that we can't confirm or deny it. The observations are there, but with
the globe problem, it has an explanation. It's quite clear and it's quite easy to recognize and understand.
Yeah, but my thing is that we cannot confirm it. You can say that, and this is the dilemma. It's like I said, it's like you have optics that are a problem if you're trying to locate stuff in the sky. You've got, there's a whole bag of stuff that comes with this notion of the heliocentric and acentric model. And that's, for me, it's like, look, the sun may very well illuminate the moon. You know what I mean? But the thing is that I can't verify it. It doesn't make or break the shape of the Earth for me, though. Do you know what I mean, Ron?
I don't.
Yeah, it's fine. You know what I mean?
If all those findings of the model of the moon and sun were those things that lead you to that logic, then it should follow that you falsified your own logic, and therefore you wouldn't adhere to that theory, would you?
Forgive me, am I breaking up here? I mean, of course, if I found new information that made me think that the other, you know what I mean? Of course, I would advance my own ideas on it. But the thing is that with the sun illuminating the moon, for instance, like I said before, it's like I don't know what causes lunar eclipses. You know what I mean? The selenium is interesting. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that I understand the proposal of heliocentrism, that the Earth is, creating casting the shadow and the rest of it. I understand it. It's just the thing is that there's there's things to it for me where I could see the conundrum. As I've said before, my opinion about the shape of the Earth can be summed up almost in this kind of a Zen koan, which is essentially just that we live on an infinite plane contained in a celestial sphere. I know that break, it doesn't suit well the left-brained position.
That hurts.
Yeah, I know it does. I'm sure it hurts you. And good. I'm glad it does. It's supposed to. It's a fucking, it's a good, it's a healthy thing. And,
gibberish.
Well, it's a healthy thing. But so is 93 million miles away, dude. That's
No.
That sounds like gibberish to me, dude.
Let's talk about something a little bit more down
Talk
to
about
earth.
trigonometry and how easily
I'm just saying, it just seems like fucking gibberish, dude.
I got one. All right, so got some new information for you, Issa. Okay. Now, I tried this with Allie B, and Allie B just trolled the hell out of it. And in the end, ultimately, he just cowardly shied away from it. I'm hoping that you'll do better than that, and I have full faith and confidence in you that you will make a much better attempt at this than Ali B did. But I haven't taken a dig at Ali B in a while, so I had to get that in there. All right, so here it is. It basically has to do with what you guys were talking about a minute ago, and I wasn't able to jump in. Regarding the height of the sun above the earth.
Yeah.
Now, you have this problem mathematically. There is no figure that you can, at which you can place the sun above a flat earth and have all of our observations from Earth match up to it. There is no magic number where that will occur. The only way you can basically, and this is going to come down to the absolute precision of your measurements, disregard the distance to the sun from the surface of the earth. It's a question of how much do you have to curve the surface before your angle measurements, simultaneous angle measurements taken from various places upon the surface. That's at the same time, Orphan Red. It's how much you have to curve it to match up to what we experience. Right. And what you find is, almost 25,000 mile circumference sphere is where you hit your magic mark, where all of your lines of sight are virtually parallel to a very distant sun, regardless of the number of millions of miles away. The difference between the sun being 1 million miles away and 93 million miles away doing this type of triangulation method is going to be a very small change in angle. It's a very precise difference to get from like 1 million to 93 million and whatnot. Every tiny little change in the angle has a great impact on the distance of the sun. I'm not hung up on 93 million miles. I'm hung up on the shape of the earth. And what I just explained proves beyond a shadow of a doubt to me that the surface of the earth is indeed curved. And we are on a sphere of approximately, a little less than 25,000 miles in circumference. How do you respond to that? Do I need to go over any graphics or anything to make the point? I'm not sure how well my point came across just in speech.
Okay. That's a good point, though. And there's a video that elaborates on it exactly. Right here. You guys want it? Am I muted? Oh, no, I'm not. Oh, sorry. I'm going to put it in the front chat.
Let's see here.
It's called How Far is the Sun?
Okay, so curved.
Science Online.
This is what I would show you. Just in the way that I'm viewing this stuff. Okay, so like you see like this the full magnetic spectrum here.
I'm not seeing anything.
You're not okay, hold on. I have two two channels up right now on this hangout. I don't know if you see my other hangout. I have another you got me? I got two
well, he's presenting one of you, but you're apparently not screen sharing, or you're
all right,
screen
Nathan,
sharing.
Can you tip onto my other icon? I just joined the call, or if he's even around. Maybe he's presenting Grim still, I'm not too sure. But either way, I'm trying to show
you're showing all right, that's cool.
Hold on. I'm trying to show this here.
Not a flat earther.
Do you guys see what I'm showing or no?
Yeah, full magnetic field spectrum.
Yeah, the full magnetic field spectrum here. So like, this is the way I see the sun, right? Would be can you see my cursor on here? I don't know if you can.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So like I would see the sun, let's say, on up in this celestial sphere. Now, so far away enough, let's say, to light the moon. Let's say if the sun was on this line here, like let's just say this was, could be reversed or whatever you want to say, or whichever way these lines. But like let's say the ecliptic is like in this region here. You know, you got the ecliptic going up and, you know, this shit. So like,
yeah, we know how you're misrepresenting
all right,
the
okay.
model.
So like here, so like, let's say you had this idea of,
That's
whatever
where the moon is. That's in my moon theory.
So this would be like, let's say your speaker, right? So you've got your energy coming up this way, and this is your thing. Now, granted, in my idea, we may only be living in this little bubble right here. And the thing is that this bubble to us is what is the 25,000. And so like our sun and
What
moon
shape
and
is
the
a
rest,
ball?
or this projection. I don't know if you see this ball. Yeah, no, you see this here? Yeah, you can see.
What
Hey,
shape is a bubble?
Good point. It's a ball. And that would be your perspective of a celestial sphere.
So in your
But doesn't mean,
theory,
hold
we
on.
live on a
Hold
ball.
on. But I'm
Thank
saying,
you.
no. I'm saying we have a flat plane. This ball here could be the firmament. Look, and all I'm saying is that or I see it like this, is that we may be on the inside of the outer
But it is a
parts
ball,
of this
huh?
dielectric plane. Oh, I'm just providing an alternative theory. No, this is the source. And either we live within this area on a flat plane, or we're out here on a flat plane. And so my thing is that, like, and if the sun and the moon and everything were up here, what I'm proposing is that they would be projected from this source. And I think what we're dealing with is a combination of sololuminescence and sound, and we're also dealing with light, and we're dealing in what with them together that culminates in what we see as the sun and the moon. And this is why it's hard for us to pinpoint the location collectively, and this is where I think we have the anomalies because of, I mean, never mind the atmosphere that's inside of our dielectric plane or in here, never mind that, we also have the distances that's created, and God knows how far these are. It may be, like you said, 93 fucking million miles away is the celestial sphere. I don't fucking know.
Well, it would have to
But
be.
I think of it as more in the sense of and maybe it does. But my thing is that this is
where they see it from on all the
right,
places
right.
on the planet at the same
But
time.
but then also, let's say like this is like let's say there may be layers to this field where, like, let's say instead of the sun being all the way up here or something,
this is a
maybe
field though.
Right, and wouldn't these be the lines that those entities that we call the sun and the moon are operating on? Like much like let's say like the magnetic frequencies are what make for our latitude, in a way, our latitudes.
Literally could not be. That's the whole point. It can't be, because they can't be local. We just demonstrated that by simple observations.
Right, but
this
you can't
is a very
actually
complex way to try and confuse a very simple observation.
Graham, also, you're speaking from a
can't
point
see
that's
that?
like point C. You're not on the map of flat Earth or ball Earth standard
I'm
model.
on the fucking map though.
You're not on standard model though.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, like, this is that you're trying to talk.
I'm on standard
hold
model
on,
as
man.
far
Look,
as
but bro,
observations go.
right? But you
Interpretation
complicate
of
the
those
matter.
observations may be a little different, but
Right,
the
but
observations that the planet is a sphere and that the sun doesn't shrink away as it moves off onto the horizon as if it were on a flat Earth map, because it does not change distance from us. We just spin. In relation to it, it looks like it is setting as perspective of that spin. That's all that is. If it were local, it would be getting bigger as it got yourself here.
Dude,
You can cut that shit out.
yeah, I mean, if you're gonna step away from the controls, you might want to let somebody else.
The mods,
you
dude,
trust.
that would give a shit.
Yeah, so somebody
Other
could kick
than
them.
it feels like plausible deniability. Like, oh, we can't leave this one up because that happened. Oh well. Instead of the fact that all the arguments were destructive towards the idealism, I would almost think, Nathan, you bombed this shit yourself, dude.
We're doing such a good job.
Yeah.
It's one of those things when you've got kids screaming on you, it's just typical. At the wrong moment you get the distraction of your life. But there we go. It's one of those. I will round out this show at this point, so if I put the camera back on me. So with that, I'm going to say a massive thank you to all of our live audience who have joined us. For future shows, if you'd like to join the debate, click on the link in the info box in future videos. Once this video is rendered, be sure to leave a comment and a like below this video. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next one.